people will not benefit from this cut because of the Medicaid cuts. So some federal updates. The Congresswoman led a letter along with 33 other congressional members to the Secretary of Department of Health and Human Services to express outrage over the closing of 5 Head Start regional offices. The abrupt closing of these offices put services and education for vulnerable families at risk. This federally funded program serves about 7,500,000 people and children across the country. And lastly, I'll try to make this quick. I know I'm running out of time. But as you may know, Trump had announced the 10% tariff on all countries set to take effect on April 5th. Additionally, on April 9th, higher custom tariffs will be imposed on other countries, European nation, Vietnam, Cambodia. Just wanted to let you guys know that the Congresswoman is definitely opposed on this tariff as it would affect small businesses, consumers, and working families. Lastly, you know, she's always here for you, and I'm here as well to take down your comments and concerns. And yeah, that was it for this month. Any questions? Okay. Thank you. My cards are up there. Oh, sure.
Wait for the mic. Hey, Corey Hennigan. So I know that DOT Secretary Duffy had issued a halt work order on unawarded federal discretionary grants that involved like green infrastructure or bike lanes. And I was just, I'm very concerned about the potential to lose any of the funding that we were awarded but maybe hadn't been obligated. So do you know if any work has stopped in terms of getting to contract agreements, or can you check in on that?
I could definitely check in on that because, as we know, there's a lot of grants being put on hold at the moment. But I could come over, give you my card, and we could exchange information, and I'll get back to you.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey.
I just have a question for you about the requirement for beneficial corporations. I know that we worked with the the Congress member to have a Q&A and a whole event over the summer, and that has now been stopped, and now it's optional. And I wanted to know, because there were a lot of people, small business owners on this board and in the community that went through the effort of submitting. And of course, in this day and age, with this administration and with the safety and security of our data, that folks from DOJ are, privy to, and we had to upload all kinds of information like passport photos or driver's license photos. Do you know if there's any kind of recourse for folks who did submit that weren't required to have their information purged?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, thank you so much for that question. I actually reached out to our DC team this week regarding that because, everything is very up in the air. Something new is happening every single day, so it's kind of hard to know what are the steps moving forward. So I can get back to you on that with a more detailed answer because we are still looking into it. But, and everyone else knows that the Congresswoman has opposed the halt that President Trump has done with the whole BOI because we want to definitely target shell companies to make sure that all businesses are real, accurate businesses. But moving forward, I'll definitely give you a more detailed answer.
You're going to tell me how to use a mic? Nice to see you.
You too.
So it's a question that's kind of out there, answer's kind of out there, but I just want a little clarity. Mm-hmm. The budgets for the MLS, Museum and Library Services, mm-hmm. the NEA, these things were, the Congress established the budgets, and yet they're being frozen. And so what is happening on possibility of this moving since the Congress is supposed to be the ones in charge of the budget?
Yeah. Again, that's another thing that I could get back to you on because there's a lot of moving parts that we're just completely unsure of at the moment and is very unclear because one day you see that some things are moving forward, another day you see that multiple agencies, their staffers are getting fired, and then grants are getting paused. There's just a whole bunch of moving parts right now that is really hard to just provide a clear, precise answer. But I don't want to stand here and say, oh yeah, it'll stop or it'll move forward. But I want to take that back to the team to get an actual clear answer and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is how the federal government is moving and how they are not moving. But that's what I could do moving forward.
I just stole the microphone. So my question is about, the Senate voted to take away the emergency powers from the president, and I'd like to know what the congressperson is doing to help to have the Congress do the same thing.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. I could definitely pass that message along and let her know that her constituents would like more advocacy on that end, but definitely I know that she would be in support of it. But I'll let her know personally that her constituents would want that. Yeah, of course.
This is maybe a silly question, but and I've been thinking a lot about this. But you know how the president is going on a firing spree, and so I was wondering, what if he fires the people in Congress? I know he can't, but we've been saying in our minds that he can't do a lot of things, and he's been doing them.
Yeah.
And so, what would happen in that case?
So
Or-
when you say fire the people in Congress, what
Like the congresswomen, people, the senators, I don't know, I'm just thinking of all the possibilities that could happen.
Yeah. No.
Is there are you, I guess, are the people within, I guess the House are planning for these things to happen eventually, or I don't know. I'm just, yeah.
No, yeah, valid question. I feel like at this point, we're preparing for literally anything. Nothing is, like I said, set in stone, but, of course, we have, I forget what it's called, it's been a very long day, but separation of powers, where you have to make sure that, things are going the right way, even though we see that it's not. So at the end of the day, it's very confusing. But I highly doubt that with actual Congress members that they would go that route in terms of, having the president advocate for them to be fired. I highly doubt that would happen, but again, we always say that with certain things right now, we highly doubt something's going to happen, and then it happens. But there's definitely will be votes, and I don't think that the Congress members would vote in favor of, firing their own colleagues, but valid question, and that's something I'll also bring to the Congresswoman's head, hey, the constituents saying this, what do we have in plan moving forward? Thank you so much, guys. Of course, I'll be over there with my cards.
Evelyn from Congresswoman Grace Meng's office.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Evelyn Lee from Congresswoman Grace Meng's office. Just a few updates from me today. First, to echo on what Tiffany just said, the Congresswoman and the Congressman Mix also in mid-March held a joint press conference in Jamaica Hospital, and then to opposing and slamming on the federal administration's plan to cut Medicaid, because that's going to be a devastating damage to our working families and to our low-income the groups. So we are very concerned about what's going on, and we'll just keep closing watch of what's going to happen. And also, luckily, I think the judge actually just had the decision on the Social Security office is closing down, so thankfully. But we are also having in very close touch with our local field offices and see what their impacts are. Like recently they actually just changed the rules about the in-person visiting to make it very inconvenient for a lot of the senior citizens. And then that's actually coming from Dodge. That's coming from Elon Musk's decision. And then we are actually helping some constituents, logging on their online accounts because they can't do that. And then now they can't make phone calls to the Social Security office anymore to make that down. So that's also another inconvenient thing coming up. And also recently, the Congresswoman also wrote a letter to the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem because apparently a lot of food pantries stopped receiving federal money under their review. And then, so that is definitely not acceptable because we are demanding them to restore this funding immediately. And we are also keeping in touch with our local food pantries, local organizations who are providing food to see what their impacts are and see when we can receive this money again. And if you have any questions, always reach out to us. But still, life goes on, so a few events to announce. We have our weekend office hour this Sunday in our district office in Northeast Queens Flushing from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And also, we have our ID NYC card enrollment event working with the city agency. Also on It's on April 9th, Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. near our office. I will have a flyer ready if you need any information. And then so ID NYC is available to all New York City residents 10 years or older, regardless of immigration status. Definitely very information to know for people around you, let them know that. And also just one last thing, our congressional art competition, that deadline is April 14th. So if you have any students in our district would like to showcase their art skill, definitely reach out to us. And I'll have a flyer over there as well. Thank you. Yes, Sheila?
It's this question I meant to ask also of Congressman Velasquez's office is right now it's back in the courts whether the person that's occupying the White House right now is actually abiding by the court's demand, like as far as the deportation.
Yes.
And I know it's back in the courts because they ignored it. And so is there anything that the Congress can do if it comes to where it goes through the courts that they have intentionally ignored the courts?
I will get back.
Does that question make sense?
Yes. Yes. I will just talk to Anatole before the meeting. I mean, not like exactly relevant, but for some reason, I think in the past 2 weeks, our office actually has received a lot of calls about people getting arrested for ICE. I know that started a long time ago, but for some reason I feel like it's getting worse. So I'm not saying they are being deported right away, but they are being sent out of state right away after their arrest, which is really terrifying. And their family didn't even get notified until later. And then we are for those individual cases, obviously, our office will try our best to help. We are in talks with ICE, with the facility, especially for those people who have health conditions. That's very inhuman to do it. And then they are being isolated in their jail and then have no access to internet or anything. That's unacceptable. And but if there's any mass deportation, just like what Donald Trump is saying, we're definitely gonna do something. I really can't tell when or what we can do, but I can get back to you later and see if we can come up with any solution to prepare for that. Yeah, thanks. Oh, please. Yeah, true. Hi.
So I work with a lot of high school students who come from mixed families, meaning that they either were born here or are naturalized citizens or permanent residents or whatever, and are currently in the midst of applying for FAFSA and have parents perhaps that don't have a valid social security number to use, and so they're let's say undocumented or have ITINs or things like that. And so earlier in the fall, right, there was a lot of fear of, well, what's going to happen with their socials? Can we complete the FAFSA? Should we submit? But now that they are completing, right, now it's the fear that the IRS will release their identifying information and potentially, cooperate with ICE and deport them. So what is the office doing to work and kind of
I see.
avoid that from happening?
Yeah, so we are definitely very concerned about IRS, like, basically all the federal agencies sharing all their, people's like tax information and all the social security information. As far as of now, if there's any individual cases that you know of and, you're concerned about, definitely reach out to our office, because we actually did, I think, assisted a few people about those things. It's kind of case by case as of now, I think. Some of them, they actually got past okay, there was not some hiccups in their FAFSA process. But for the future, the potential that the data being shared, I'll have to get back to you on that, see if there's anything like the last thing, Sheila was talking about. Is there anything we can prepare of that and see if maybe we can be more vocal and have some joint effort with other members and see if we can say something about that before it even happens. Hopefully not. Yeah. Thanks. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Because it's a new community board term, I'll ask our director of community boards at Queensborough President's Office, Michael Collier, to come up and say a few words.
All right, thanks, Anatole. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you to CB2. My name's Michael Carlier. I'm the Director of Community Boards for the Queensborough President, Davin Richards. So, it's been a whole process since January, more or less, going over all the applications, doing all the interviews. So just first and foremost, congratulations to the new slate. So if this is your first meeting, please stand up so we can acknowledge you. Now more than ever, we need folks like you to step up, get involved in your local community, and you guys have actually done that. You're doing it. So first off, just thank you first and foremost. This year we had 916 applications across the borough of New York, which is almost a record. We're flirting with 1K, but hopefully next time around. We had a total of 361 total appointees this year. Of that 361, 117 are new appointees, which is a record for the borough. So again, just thank you for being a part of that and our outreach efforts to get more diverse voices in our community to be heard. When we have more folks willing to engage with the local government, with our elected offices who are here tonight as well, we're a more informed and empowered community. So thank you for that. So I am here tonight with my colleague, our usual Community Board 2 rep, Claire Collins. Say hey, Claire. Yeah, so Claire will be providing a briefing just regarding the bread and butter of what we're working on at Borough Hall. But again, just from my angle, just want to acknowledge that, congratulations to all you once again. Just going to leave my contact information in the back there by the flyers. But again, congratulations and looking forward to working together. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah, if anyone has questions. Oh, okay, great. And yeah, just finally for any new members, you have already received this email, but the Borough President is hosting a Community Board orientation and swearing in. That's April 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m. Existing members are also invited if they want to be refreshed on the protocols and expectations on procedures on Community Board and conducting business. So we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Mercedes from Senator Gennar's office.
Good evening, everyone. Again, thank you so much for having me tonight. Mercedes Jennings. I'm the Community Liaison for State Senator Michael Generis' office. As you probably all are aware, the budget still has not passed, but the senator is working really hard to make sure that all of the essential programs and services that helps working class families, our children and veterans definitely remain and continue to be funded, especially Mitchell-Lama programs, just to give you a heads up on some of those, affordable housing programs, and of course, education, especially foundation aid. As you know, he has been one of the very early proponents since 2012 to make sure that schools are funded 100% across New York City and New York State. So he has been fighting consistently to make sure that that money does not get touched in the state budget. So just wanted to let you know that he is still remaining steadfast on advocating for that. In addition to that, our office is working really hard to make sure that we have bring the DMV to our constituents. We were able to schedule one event coming up, and that's for the certain zip codes in Long Island City and Astoria to go to at the Ditmars, what we call Ditmars Library, it's the Steinway Library actually, and that's going to be on May 3rd from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon to get your new real ID. We're working hard to advocate to see if we can be able to have the DMV come back out to Woodside Houses, Sunnyside Library, as well as Maspeth Town Hall, so that we can be able to hit up those 3 areas that didn't get it the last time when we did it last year. Definitely those are areas that are in great need, a lot of elderly as well as children, so they could get their real ID and be able to go into federal buildings and travel domestically. The senator actually marched and was participating in Greek Independence Parade to celebrate Greek heritage in our neighborhood and our community, and also gave awards. Just wrap it up really quick. Okay, and to give out awards to those that have done great contributions in Astoria as relating to Greek heritage. On April 19th, our office for the past month is doing a Earth Day event where anyone that does poetry, art, stories can definitely submit that online and get certificates of recognition by the senator. So definitely encourage your youth or any adult interested to do that as well. And that's pretty much the gist of most of my updates. The senator also made a very big statement to New York Times this week concerning him pushing to make sure that he wants to make sure that legislation and certain businesses do not open up in Buffalo and only pay $1 a year to be there and not contribute anything to the state of New York. So just wanted to let you know. Actually, it was Tesla specifically. So, and he definitely made that quote very clear. So just wanted to know if you have any questions. Yes.
Hello, thank you. And first of all, please convey my thanks to the senator for standing up when I don't know what title he has, but the bad person on immigration came to Albany.
Yes.
I think we all appreciate that. I appreciate it. My question, of course, is about the state budget. Since there is a delay, can the senator push to get some of the revenue raisers, taxes on the rich, put in the budget, because we are almost definitely facing a shortfall because the federal government is going to stop funding programs that we need in our communities. And it would be really great to start raising that revenue so we can pick up some, I realize we can't pick up all of it, but some of that cost. And also, since the budget as it stands right now doesn't seem to have anything to fund those programs that might go away, will there be a session? Will they go back into session post-June if those cuts really happen, which seems likely?
He is trying to actually be proactive, along with other senators that are working with him in Albany right now. He's really been pushing to say, listen, like, for example, foundation aid, I keep bringing up foundation aid. It's really important. Our schools in New York City, once that foundation aid comes to city schools, it becomes fair funding. And that actually, they use a formula to determine how much each school gets depending on demographics, necessary needs of the children in the school, you name it, like especially if you need more ESL programs, if you have students with special needs, all those things are part of the formula. And so one of the things that Hochul was trying to push was a difference in the change of the formula. which the formula does need a change. Her change would mean that $350 million gets lost from our schools in the city, which he was not for at all. He was like, no. He was like, we should follow what the Robin Hood Foundation found out and try to make sure that those, each school follows a regional perspective. So like maybe Astoria has a different region, so those schools would get different monies versus, let's say, Sunnyside, for example. It should be more specific so that schools get the actual, funding that they need for those services for the kids. So just giving you that as an example, he's been really pushing on that because he understands like the need, and he knows like one of the things that were threatened last week was the Department of Education being closed. And if that happens, not only does federal program, I know someone in the audience mentioned FAFSA, but in addition to that, a lot of programs like occupational therapy, speech, for children who have special needs will be cut as a result of that. Like about, I think it's $1.2 billion you're saying. So that's a lot of money that goes to the schools for programs that many working families cannot afford, and they need it for their children. So that's something like, that's why he's been really pushing for that. Oh. Hi, Sheila.
Hi, Mercedes. So 2 questions. Since you brought up, and Senator Gonzalez's office, you're up there first. So,
Sure.
you brought up the real IDs. And so one of the things I just wanted clarified, because when I renewed my driver's license a few years ago, the person at the counter told me I didn't need to pay the extra just by renewing my driver's license right now. It
Right.
was a real ID, because there was the push for you to pay more for the fancier one, but people don't need to.
Right.
And I feel like that information most people may not know, because I was encouraged to pay the extra money until I got to the counter, and then she said, you don't need to do that.
Yeah. In addition to that, also, if you receive certain government programs, like if you receive food stamps, if you get SSI, Social Security, like if you're over 65, you pay a discounted price for your driver's license or state ID or permit. I think it's about, instead of like $19, you pay like $6 or something like that. So I was informing people in the community about that as well. So that's definitely the case. And thank you for bringing it up, because that's, yes, we want to make sure that people are getting the real IDs, but are also not paying too much for them either.
Yep.
That's an
Okay.
advantage also of trying to bring it into the community, because then we're right there as a support.
I can't remember my second question right now.
Okay, well, I'm here.
I'll save it for Senator Gonzalez.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Camille, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
What is the senator's position on the proposed mask ban?
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Our office has received many calls, many emails about it. His position has not changed since COVID. He is in support of anyone who chooses to wear a mask, especially if you have health issues and you need to wear it out in public. He feels that's something that you should not, tell other people to do. In addition to that, there's a lot of people that are advocates or go to protest, and you want to be protected and safe. So he has openly actually said that recently in the New York Times. The New York Times is like his thing recently to talk to. But he has said that he is in support of people's decisions to wear masks. Right, he doesn't feel it should be banned. Like, people should have the right to wear a mask if they choose to.
Thank you. Hi, Mercedes.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good, very well, good to see you, welcome. The governor recently announced a $160 million investment in the Q70 LaGuardia link, which would be the only real public transportation from LaGuardia to connections within the city. And it comes to 61st Street Woodside in our district, which is not a very, very pleasant place for people visiting New York to stop. I think that this should be a major project for investment. The bus stop is kind of in a grungy underpass where the sidewalks are crowded with people and vendors who, we love vendors, but the sidewalks are just not wide enough for everybody.
Right.
And then the 61st Street Woodside station is also a pretty busy station. I think it could use a significant investment, since this is the plan going forward for public transit from LaGuardia, the best airport in the country.
I will definitely let the senator know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Hi, nice to meet you. My name's Randy Plummel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Can you give us an update on the speed limiters for repeat offenders bill that's working its way through the Senate and the Assembly?
It is currently on hold because of the budget, but I believe that it will probably get pushed through. I hope so, but it looks promising, especially because like he's been a huge advocate for making sure that people obey the speed limit, especially because our district unfortunately has seen so many tragedies, especially with youth specifically, when it comes to like vehicular manslaughter and traffic violence. So he has continued to support that bill, and I know he's advocating to push it once the budget is passed. You're welcome. Anything else? Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
I also commend the senator for having good taste in pastries, because he joined me at the Cora Bakery opening the other day. Okay, next is Jamie from Assemblyman Stephen Raga's office, then Steph, you're next.
I love the music. It's like my own little theme song. Yeah. Thank you. Nice to see everyone tonight. My name is Jamie. I'm from Assemblymember Stephen Raga's office. I have a bit of updates to go over. For those who find themselves in Albany this next week, we'll actually be having our annual Songkran celebration, April 9th on Wednesday. We'll have a lot of community groups, specifically Thai community groups in Woodside and Elmhurst coming up, and having a resolution adopted then, so really excited for there. But I want to go first over through a few of the legislative and budget updates. So the Assembly member was really happy that he was able to work with Chair Rosenthal, Assemblymember Reyes, the Speaker, and leadership to secure $850 million for Mitchell-Lamas in the One House budget. Really happy. So the Assembly member is pushing to make sure that we can at least increase the $80 million that was secured last year. So he's very hopeful, and we're hoping it makes it to the final budget, especially to help Big Six. And we also were really happy to see the inclusion of universal school meals for all students. Thank you. So that's also another huge priority. And as Mercedes mentioned, foundation aid to make sure that our schools are properly funded in the city. Okay, perfect. So I'll go through our upcoming events. So y'all who have not done taxes, friendly reminder, I have not done them either. But if you make less than $90,000, Urban Upbound offers free tax preparation services. We are fully booked at our office for our last one, April 5th, but they do have extra slots open at other partner locations. So if you would like to get your taxes done, let me know and I can give you the phone number. And if you have trouble reaching them, let me know and I can easily call them to make sure that they can get back to you. For those who are around April 12th, we're partnering with Maspeth Federal Bank to have an e-waste recycling event in the parking lot from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we'll also be hosting our Earth Day of Action on Saturday, April 19th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in Woodside. And we'll also be going to some parts of Elmhurst and Jackson Heights. Thank you. We also have a lot of monthly mobile office hours. So we'll be throughout Maspeth, Elmhurst, Woodside, Jackson Heights, especially because I know our office is in Maspeth and you have to take a train and a bus, so we want to be accessible to you all. The Assembly member always posts the mobile office hours on his social media. You'll see staff members there. They can file cases for you, answer your questions, talk to you about concerns, or even bill ideas. So please feel free to stop by. There's a bunch listed, but I'll just let you know the one upcoming on Jackson Heights on Tuesday, April 15th from 3 to 5 p.m. will be at Diversity Plaza. We have one in Maspeth on the 10th, one in Woodside on the 9th, and Elmhurst on the 3rd. I'm happy to send these through email if that's easier, so you all have that for your reference. And that's pretty much all my updates, so we'd love to take any and all questions. Yes.
Just want to follow up about the ACE cleanings. Have they started?
Yes. So we thank you to Councilmember Julie Wan's office. We touched base with Farah about the pigeon pooping. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but ACE, their water tanks, right, weren't in effect until this month?
So basically, they said that, because when you reached out, it was March, they said that in April, they're going to restart the water tanks. Usually it takes a few weeks because they have to take it out of storage, and then they're going to start power washing all of the underpasses that
we've contracted ACE to do, and that includes the overpass or the underpass that you mentioned.
Great, thank you, thank you. Any other questions? Great, okay. Oh, mask ban. The Assembly member is, thank you for bringing that up. He's opposed to the mask ban, similar to Senator Gianaris, especially with those with autoimmune diseases. People of color were policed differently, so he's adamantly against the mask ban. Any others? Great, okay.
Thanks, Jamie. Steph from Assembly Member Valdez's office, and then Ruben.
Hello, Steph from Assemblymember Valdez's office. The Assembly member is on a train back from Albany right now. She'll be back here tomorrow morning for the Lily Gavin Women's History Breakfast. We also have some mobile office hours on the 12th. We have some office hours at the Ridgewood Library from 11 to 1, and then the Maspeth Library from 2 to 3:30. Also, we have a newsletter that has been going out since we've taken office. It's on our Assembly website. Also, we sent out a district-wide mailer with a community survey. We want to hear from everyone as a new office, especially what folks are concerned about, what issues they want the Assembly member to be advocating for in Albany and to be working on back here in the district. So you can send that in. People have been coming by every day, torn off, giving us the survey, or you can go to our Assembly website as well and fill it out online. As has been said, the budget has not passed. They keep passing extenders. And we have also been hearing from a lot of constituents about their opposition to the mask ban. The Assembly member is also very strongly against for all the reasons that have been stated. But also as someone who was a union organizer, there's also a labor angle to this. If you think about like workers on the picket line, if they want to wear a mask, that could, this proposed mask ban would create a new crime of mask harassment. That's at least the language that they have right now. And you could see how someone who is, getting fired up on a picket line could be accused of mask harassment, and that's something that affects workers. So that's, there's a myriad of reasons why she's opposed to it, but just to add another. I know revenue raisers were brought up earlier. She's also really, really pushing to get revenue raisers in the budget. Unfortunately, it looks like that will probably not be the case. But there's a chance that they'll be coming back at some point in the fall and may need to pass those to make up for what's happening at the federal level. So that's what's going on.
Hi, Steph.
Hi.
So you're up there before Senator Gonzalez is, so I'm going to ask two questions. One is, I'm a little unclear about the discovery bill. And because to me, the sharing of information in both directions seems fair as opposed to bad, but maybe I'm missing something. So do you have any information on that?
My information is I think it would be easier to talk about in a different setting because it is confusing, but she is opposed to what the governor is proposing right now. So yes, but in terms of getting into the nitty gritty, it'd be a little.
Well, I've been opposed to it, but there's such a push.
Yes.
And it just seems to me like who decides what is relevant information, then right. And we have okay. And then definitely a big thank you to the Assembly member and to actually all y'all Albany people over there for keeping arts and culture, NISCA budget at 200 million in the One House bill. Which affects arts education, mental health, arts and stuff for seniors, affects all of that. And especially with what's going on in DC right now, we really need that. And that is a revenue raiser, basically. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, hello. A lot of our committees are getting messages from our residents of the district in Blissville about a company called Green Asphalt, which is in violation of air pollution laws as determined by the state of New York. And there are days when the air is dense with pollution where they can't breathe. These members of Blissville are screaming for help. And I know that your office has been involved. So I wonder if there has been any progress.
I don't have any updates to give right now. I would need to check with our constituent services director and the member, but I can get back to you. We can connect and I can send you some.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate it. The problem is not going away.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I have a follow-up on that. Has there been any progress made with the cement business that's over behind LaGuardia being on the MTA property that MTA has kind of let them be on, but it causes a lot of havoc over there? Do you know what I'm talking about? No. Yes.
I don't have an update on that either.
Okay,
I'll
maybe I need to send you some more
Yeah,
information.
that would be great.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Ruben, then Farah.
Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Ruben Flores from State Senator Chris Gonzalez's office. Nice to meet all of you guys. I'll be really quick. Yeah, sounds okay. I'll be really quick. Sorry for being out of breath and late. The beauty of being in the Triborough District, I'm in Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Queens all the same day. So I definitely got my steps in. But I do want to tell you guys what has been going on. And I really want folks to understand also, like, if you don't see us as often, believe me, we're here. I hear it all the time. I get emails and calls, especially regarding the MTA, that I think at this point, the MTA probably hates me right now. But one of the reasons why I'm here also is because I want to hear you guys as well. As I'm getting more familiar with the area, with Queens, I got to say, I'm loving Queens more than Brooklyn. Don't tell them that. But no, you guys are amazing. Also for the new community board members, thank you for actually this commitment. I always say not all heroes wear capes. So you guys being here means a lot, and also for you guys as well. Like, you guys are what make us actually going, right? Like, so you guys always like telling us what to do, keeping us going, and because again, like, we work basically for you guys. That's the way I see it, right? It's community service, right? So like I said, we've done multiple AMI workshops for our seniors. Obviously, the AMI is already in full effect happening, and most of our seniors, fortunately, are not tech savvy, right? So one thing we were trying to do is actually like teach them how to navigate it, how to access it online, all that stuff. And relating to seniors and not tech savvy and doing everything on the computer also is housing. Housing. Obviously, we're doing stuff with Housing Connect. We know it's not one of the greatest things, but again, it takes us a toll, but we want to make sure that everyone, including our seniors, understand how the process works and how to apply. Also with Scree and Dree, try and do it online as well. So we currently have like 4 active tenant associations throughout Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan. Again, no pun intended, but I have a housing organizing background, so that is my passion. But also, we're doing stuff with immigration, right? I just came back from Brooklyn. We were doing immigration rights with our electeds over there as well. And in Manhattan, dealing with the helicopter issues that, yes, they are annoying, even us in our office hearing it, and also the concern of the air quality as well, and folks in the residents at that side of Manhattan, but also as I'm walking around Long Island City, I'm noticing same issue as well. So we hear the residents, and the Senator's actually working on some bills to actually make things better, and obviously environmental justice is also in our priorities and air quality as well. So again, enough about me. I want to hear more about you guys. So if you have any questions, concerns, please let me know.
Thank you. Thank you. And I see the senator and her team around all the time, and I appreciate everything that you do. Okay, the state budget. Will the senator continue to push for revenue raisers in the budget? And eventually a budget will get passed, I know, but if they don't include things to make up for the deficit we're going to have from the federal government, will she push to go back into session in the fall to have a new budget to make up for that money? And I'm sure she is, but can you just re-emphasize the concern? Thank you.
Yeah, no, definitely. It is a talk, it's a conversation. There are some concerns about it, but we're prepared. If we have to push back and extend this, it's already in the works. We already have our budgeting team that they're awesome. They're ready, getting the ball rolling just in case. So,
Hi, can you tell me where the senator's standing on the discovery bill?
It's honestly, it's a bit complicated for me to even understand it. If you want, I'm gonna get back to you on that one.
Okay.
I do want to talk to our chief of staff and see if we have more clarity on it. And again, I'm gonna give you guys my business card as well.
Cool.
Okay.
And Camille, did you want to ask about the masks? Yeah.
The mask ban.
Same as the rest of the colleagues, absolutely. It's proposed freedom for everyone as well, whoever wants to use it or not, absolutely.
What is the discovery issue there? That's not the same as the mask. Could you please explain it so people will know? Or could whoever asked the question?
I can probably give you a little bit more on it. The governor is looking to support something that the DAs have been pushing for, which says that they don't have to share all information with the defense. It's up to them to decide what information to share with the defense based on them deciding what's specifically relevant to the issue at hand. And so the reason I brought it up is because to me, the prosecution making the determination over what should be shared seems a bit one-sided. It's like who decides what information specifically is relevant to the accused crime? And there's a lot on the other side. There's a lot push, and as you know, probably almost every person, certainly almost every person who defines as a woman in this room has probably been a victim of some kind of, sexual assault. Like part of that's being used as window dressing for pushing this bill, as if that being able to withhold that certain information would protect the victims of, especially of sexual assault. That's the way it's being put out in the press.
And it's holding up the budget. It's one of the two issues, the mask and the discovery is what's holding up the budget getting passed.
Thank you for clarifying.
Again, I wish I have better answers for you guys at the moment, but believe me, once we're back, talk to the chief of staff and the rest of the ledge team, get some more clarity what's going on. Could definitely shoot a little more blast. Again, I will give you guys my card. Thank you guys.
And my bad about the name. And when are you running for office? All right, Farah, and then Claire. Megan, did you have an update today? Did you want to make an update? Okay, so yeah, after. And I'd like to keep it moving, so yeah, we're almost an hour in.
I'm going to make this quick. Good evening, everyone, and belated Eid Mubarak to all of those who celebrated. Also belated Holi High. Just quickly going to go through all our updates. Last month, during the month of Ramadan, we distributed over 250 bags of groceries to our Muslim and non-Muslim neighbors in celebration of the month of Ramadan and to address food insecurities for a lot of our neighbors and friends in the district. We are also, next week on April 8th, we'll be hosting a tax prep workshop with Department of Consumer Worker Protection at 5:00 p.m. on Zoom. Sorry, can you hear me better? Okay. We have our Communities Resist Housing lawyer here on April 21st. We have appointments at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 4 o'clock. We're booked up for the 7th, which is this upcoming Monday. And as there continue to be, so recently kindergarten announcements have gone out. We know that a lot of families, their children have not been placed in kindergarten. If you've had any issues with that, please let our office know, and we'll be working with DOE to make sure that each child does get into a kindergarten seat as soon as possible. Today, I am here, just wanted to shout out participatory budgeting. So you'll see each of these on your table. This has all of the events that we're having. This is a QR code for all of the PB projects. Voting ends actually on midnight on Monday, so April 7th, midnight. We just got word today that they're extending the day by 1 day to get everyone to vote. Please vote up to 5 different projects. They range from improvements, tech upgrades for a variety of different schools, tree guards to protect street trees, a sensory room for P23, which is located at the old PS 199 Annex, as well as a few public safety projects for fire safety initiatives, high-capacity pumps for flood management in the district, as well as mobile pole cameras. And then if I could just do one more update. So today, the Back Home Act was heard and included Resolution 802, which calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the governor to sign S.3886/8A 5427 in relation to protecting tenants displaced due to fires. This legislation would require building owners found responsible for fires that result in a vacate order to cover the costs of temporary housing for displaced tenants until repairs are completed. This legislation, along with the Back Home Act, will ensure displaced tenants have the information and support they need to get back on their feet and back into their homes, which is super important considering last year's fire that affected over hundreds of Sunnyside residents, as well as subsequent fires that have continued to affect a lot of our neighbors within the district. And that's it.
3 questions. Yeah, Riley, go ahead.
Hi, Farah. Thank you. Welcome. I just want to say that I appreciate that the council member is a fierce advocate for the pedestrian pathway on the Queensboro Bridge, which has now missed its last deadline, its last promised deadline from the DOT. And there's a lot of mixed messages from the city about that, but I appreciate that the council member is the loudest voice for it. People have the right to travel safely. They have the right to walk across this bridge, just as the 9 lanes of cars have rights to cross. And people are very fed up. So we appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And we would love all updates, and it will remain a major issue within the Transportation Committee and this board.
Right. As soon as we get any updates on an opening that will not be, removed again, we'll let you know. And Jalissa, who attends the transportation meetings, will also let you know.
Thank you very much. And then also the Queens LaGuardia link, the Q70, as I said before, is getting a $160 million investment. The Woodside 61st Street station, where all the travelers to Queens are going to come, needs that investment as well.
Right. I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Hey Farah, Eid Mubarak.
Thank you.
Thank you for supporting our community, and for distribution. I was the part of your distribution system, and it's really appreciated. So the question about the budget, I'm also the member of the delegate, the budget committee. So last year, you have remembered that few of very important item was denied because of the voting system, So I want to request to your office that it should be make more brochure to the all public school in our District 26 so that the parents can voting. Okay.
So from what I'm understanding, we just want to make sure that whatever was not voted on last year, there's some sort of
more voting.
That more people are voting on different projects this year. Okay, I mean, our team has been going out and making sure that people are voting. And I will say that for projects that have not been funded through PB, our office has been trying to and for all the ideas that have been submitted through PB, through the idea collection, our office has been trying to figure out ways to address those concerns, and if it's possible within the realm of the Office of Councilmember Julie Wan and City Government to get those projects or ideas to fruition. So thank you for that feedback, and we'll definitely have more outreach. We have a lot more events coming up throughout the weekend.
Okay, Lisa, last question.
Quick question. I just went to fill out the participatory budgeting survey, and I entered my answer, and it said I already voted, but I didn't already vote.
Oh, that's so strange.
FYI.
Yeah. I think you're the first person I've heard who's experienced that, but I'll talk to our budget team to see if they can troubleshoot with the PB team at City Council. And I'll have them email you directly, Lisa. Yeah. No, but I think what may be the thing, try doing, you haven't voted this year at all, correct? Maybe try making another account. Maybe try making another account. I don't know. Yeah, thank you all.
Claire and then Megan.
Hi guys, my name is Claire. I'm the Community Board 2 liaison from Borough President Donovan Richards. Okay, events, this Saturday, April 5th, we are having at 12 o'clock, we're having our spring egg hunt in the rear lawn of Queensborough Hall. And then on Monday, April 7th at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m., we're having our Eid celebration at Borough Hall. And then the next day, Tuesday, April 8th at 6 p.m., we're having our Vaisakhi celebration, also at Borough Hall. And then on Saturday, April 12th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., we're organizing a neurodivergent awareness forum and resource fair. So all parents, educators, and education advocates should come to learn about resources available within our city. Then, April 16th at 6 p.m., Bangladesh Independence Day celebration at Borough Hall. And then Monday, April 28th at 5 p.m., Songkran celebration. And yeah, you can RSVP to any of these events at queensbp.nyc.gov. And yeah, my supervisor is right there, Michael C. You guys already heard from him, so if you have questions, he's sitting right there. Thank you so much.
And in typical Bengali fashion, the Eid celebrations keep going. Megan from the Community Affairs Office.
Hey, good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Megan. I work for the Mayor's Office Community Affairs Unit. So before I give my quick update, I just want to say again, congratulations to all the new board members and also for all the board members. Thank you for your dedications to the community service. So very few quick updates. The NYPD has taken more than 1,000 illegal firearms off the street so far in 2025. This is an important accomplishment in keeping New Yorkers safe, and we continue to drive down the crime. I saw the local police presence. They are here. I just want to give you guys a big shout out for the great work and for protecting our city. And also the administration announced about 5.5 million expectations of free swimming lessons program. The expectations aim to reach another 4,800 second graders this year, and mostly from the underserved communities, and to bring total students served to about 18,000. So another new initiative called the Baby Box Initiative, that means to provide the free baby supplies to all the new families. So we are getting the free baby supplies and the health resources to the families, delivering at 4 public hospitals. The box including the free diapers, wipes, feeding, and bottle supplies. And also another big victory is about homelessness for the partnership assistance for the transit homelessness program. Since launching in August 2024, this program has had over 11,000 engagement with unhoused New Yorkers and delivered the service, including the shelter mess and the medical help. So also Community Affairs Unit, my unit goal is to engaging with the community and the stakeholders. Just want to give a special shout out to Sunnyside Bay. They are here. Thank you for putting a lot of great events to, for helping this community. Thank you.
In the interest of time, 3 questions. I'm sorry? Oh, your email, please.
Oh, so yeah, my email address is myuan
cityhall.nyc.gov. I have my business card and I will, yeah, thank you. I'm lucky.
Judy, thanks for waiting patiently.
So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Judy Zangwo, Executive Director of Sunnyside Community Services. So thank you. Welcome to our home. Sunnyside has been doing a lot of Know Your Rights workshops and what to do if you should encounter ICE. We've done it for our ESOL students, we've done it for our staff, we've done it for our home health aides with temporary protected status, of which there are 84. And we are now going to do one for the community. So it's going to be April 22nd, the same night as the new community board orientation, members orientation installation, but it's going to be virtual. We felt that would be safer, people would feel safer. And so we will have a flyer out next week. Please spread the word. It feels like that we can't do enough of these. That's the way it's feeling. So, and this is our first community one. So I'd appreciate if you spread the word. Thank you. Sheila, of course.
Hi, Judy. I can't make it the 22nd, not just because, but I have a question I was going to ask the new commanding officer, but since you're doing these events, it has to do with rights and privacy. So if someone's, maybe you know, maybe you don't, I don't know. Like if I'm just hypothetically marching and I read, is it correct that if I use biometrics, I have to if I get stopped, them use my electronic device, whereas if I just use a password, I don't have to give it to them?
I actually don't know the answer to that, Sheila. I don't know if anyone else knows the answer to that, but, and I would just say that there's so many things, I mean, other people have certainly alluded to this.
It's been confirmed what I was saying.
Okay, but I would say that it feels like there are all kinds of things happening, right? I mean, and things that are a violation. So no matter what, I feel like, we can't feel confident or secure. I think that's sort of the general feeling. I can tell you that the people we serve and our staff are terrified. And I'm not going to take long, don't worry. There's so many examples of it. Our ESOL classes are way under-enrolled and they're usually oversubscribed. We had an open house for our home health aides. 50 usually come, 6 came. We're hearing about the kids in schools. It just goes on and on and on. So our objective right now is to just help people feel safe and as protected as possible. That's right now, it feels like as much as we can do. So.
Amen, Judy. Quick check-in with our community partners. Sunnyside Shines, would you like to make an update? No, all right. LIC Partnership, would you like to make an update? No? Update? Okay, good. Asif Ali, are you still on Zoom? If you want to make an update from Woodside on the Move. And if not, we can move on. All right, that concludes our comments from elected officials and our community partners, and now we'll turn to our guest speaker, Captain Hamid Armani from the 108th. Welcome.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm Hamid Armani, new commanding officer, 108 Precinct. A little bit about myself. I'm local from this area. I've been on the job for 19 years. I work in Manhattan North. I see some familiar faces. I work in Manhattan North, Brooklyn North. 9 years I did investigative work with Intelligence Bureau, and 9 years enforcement on the street. So it's an honor to be here with everybody. I'm from Astoria, so I'm a little biased. If some of the questions I might be. No, but this is home for me. LIC is home, Sunnyside, Woodside. I have an open door policy for every member, make sure everybody knows anybody in the community who wants to walk in 108 Precinct and want to speak to me, just they can just come in. If I'm not busy, if you want to save a trip, obviously call my community affairs officer, Francisco, to make sure I'm working, and we'll take care of it. I've been here for 2 months. The main complaint I heard, parking on the sidewalk. Okay. RVs, mass bed, that's another complaint I heard. And so past month and a half, I have done 35 tow operation and towed over 65 vehicles from these locations that the complaint I received from the community, and 6 RVs, and I have on schedule to do another 6, hopefully pretty soon. As you guys know, any RV, we need a heavy tow. It has to go, it's a little process, but we're working on it. When it comes to crime, happy to report we are down 15% year to date, crime at 108, which is, thank you, men and women at 108 precinct working hard, and everybody, I'm sure you have seen them out there. Last night, 2 of my cops, got a vehicle pursuit, a stolen vehicle, and apprehended 2 individuals after brief foot pursuit. 2 firearms, illegal firearms recovered, and both individuals are being processed. So the cops are out there working hard and make sure the community is safe. Any questions for me? There you go. I was just kidding though.
Corey first, just to break it up a little.
So thanks for coming, and thanks for mentioning our top concern being sidewalk parking. As I'm sure you're aware, a lot of the sidewalk parking is done by police vehicles. In particular, I'm really interested to see if you can do anything about the police vehicle parking outside of the 108th precinct by Vernon Jackson Boulevard Station. That is a really, really busy subway station, and the sidewalk between that and the waterfront is completely covered in police vehicles, and it's frankly insulting, I think, to residents. So we'd love to see something done there.
Absolutely. I did a walkthrough of just looking where we're gonna actually relocate the cars. I am, I know about it offline. We can have more discussion with the police vehicles. There are some civilian vehicles, some of not even belonging to the officers that were they're supposed to park. So yes, I am aware of that, and I'm addressing, and I'll talk to you offline in regards to this, sir.
Hi, thank you. Nice to meet you. I am the co-chair with Steve of the City Services and Public Safety Committee. But my question is actually about ICE. And I think you've probably heard from the first hour of this meeting that this community is very concerned about ICE coming into our community and taking community members away, especially in our schools, but in all parts of our community. And my question is, will you work with ICE, or will you tell them no? Sorry, I know that's a tough question.
No, I got it. So our standard in NYPD is pretty straightforward, right? We do not ask immigration status when we provide services. We want the victims to come forward and report crime, and we address accordingly. We do not enforce federal civil laws. We are just here for public safety. Now, if there's an order from judge, that's a different case. But we do not enforce federal civil laws, and we do not ask immigration status when we provide services.
Yeah, hi, I'm Stephen Cooper, the other half. First of all, we'd like to invite you to come to, or send a representative to the Public Safety Committee. We meet every month. We'd enjoy having you. The reason I want to ask you a question now is point out something. You mentioned some other problem areas. There is another problem area in Long Island City where the Ryder trucks seem to occupy the street on a long-term basis. Now, I know that it's obviously cheaper for them to pay a ticket than to find a parking lot for these vehicles, but perhaps if they were ticketed more often, it might break even.
So, good thing you said that. As I mentioned, I'm very transparent. I had the owner of that business in my office about 10 days ago, and he promised me, I know, I hear some laughs because it probably is done before, that he is leasing another location, which was supposed to be 2 days ago. This week, I have another meeting in person. I'm gonna go this time to his business. I've heard a lot of complaints. The double parking in front of his location has stopped. That was my main concern for vehicle safety. Now, there are trucks parked in residential areas taking parking spots from our community members, which it should stop. I'm here all to support the businesses in our community. We all need to work. I think he has 20 employees, so that's 20 families. I'm here to work with everybody. But that being said, quality of life, it needs to be addressed, and I am addressing. As past 2 months I've been here, just give you a quick stats what I've done. You give me a problem, I find a solution. If I don't find a solution within NYPD, I make sure I call different agencies and get together and we address it. I have another meeting this week with a gentleman, and I'll definitely keep you posted. But this has to stop, and it will stop, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, Captain. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for addressing a lot of the issues. Sidewalk parking is a huge issue. I'm the chair of the Transportation Committee. It's the #1 complaint. It's the biggest thing that we deal with. It's a quality of life issue. It's a safety issue. It's an American with Disabilities Act issue. Our district is a mix of different zones. There's residential and manufacturing and industrial business zones, but people walk through every street to get to where they're going, to get to a subway station or public transit or their school or their house of worship. So just because a street is filled with auto mechanics doesn't mean residents don't use that street. Sure. There seems to be a double standard where traffic is enforced, public parking is enforced within residential districts more often than in manufacturing districts, even though this is a city for everybody and everybody uses every part of the city to get where they're going. I report a lot of vehicles parked on sidewalks through 311, and I'd say only 1 out of 20 actually catch a summons, so the problem persists. When people ask the Transportation Committee about what can be done about this, I say, well, it's an enforcement issue. The police have to do something. We talk in the Transportation Committee a lot about how we can build infrastructure to keep cars off of our sidewalks or keep cars out of our bike lanes, but this is millions of dollars of taxpayer money to do a job that the police have not been doing for many years, and it's become a huge problem. So I'm very, very happy to hear you talk about how you're addressing it. It needs to be happening on a large scale.
Yes, so the stat that I gave you about all the tow operations and enforcement we have done, I would say 90% was commercial. It was by, I would say, half of them mechanic shops. You cannot fix your vehicle on the street. That was the one complaint I had from a community member in front of his house. They were fixing cars. That stopped. That shouldn't happen, and it's not going to happen. If anybody sees that, please let me know. Call my community affairs. Call me direct. It's going to get addressed. Mechanics parking cars on the sidewalk. That's my pet peeve. We're on the same page. Because now you're blocking the sidewalk. The pedestrians got to go on oncoming traffic in order to cross. So now we're putting, people at risk. Traffic safety is public safety. I'm happy to report year to date we have no fatalities in confines of 108, and we want to keep it that way. But if pedestrians walking on the street, oncoming cars in order to cross, sidewalk because of vehicles, that's not gonna, that's the safety that I'm concerned. I'm a father. I'm sure everybody else, concerned about their family member, loved one. As I said, I am from this community, 24 years. My daughter grew up in Long Island City Park. So I share your concern, sir. The enforcement increased. I'll give you the whole stats, what I have done past 2 months, and it's not gonna stop because summer's coming, more kids gonna be on the street, and I'm gonna increase it, whatever I can, trying to address it, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Captain, and welcome to 108.
Thank you, sir.
So my name is Mohammed. I'm also safety committee member. Our whole mission is to save our queens. Everybody are same page that the safer queens. So my question is regarding the Woodside and Jackson Heights safety issue, which is a long time and the national issue right now. Everybody knows that those issues. The previous commandant, like the captain, he was appointing police on duty like 24 hours, but they're rounding, not permanently, in the border of Woodside, you know. So there is a 71st Street and 41st Avenue, the border of Jackson Heights and Woodside. There is a dead end. The police band normally, I was requesting to stop over there from 8 p.m. to 8 in the morning. 2 shift, you can send them to 6 hour to 6 hour or can be rounding and they can stand by over there. So the reason of the, you don't mention that the Roosevelt Avenue issue, but that is the really bad issue right now. If you go to the Woodside, Sunnyside, or Jackson Heights, you can see the situation from Friday evening to Sunday morning, the prostitution over there. So I'm requesting to you that permanently appointing a police car over there so that any kind of situation we can save the situation.
Yeah. All right. So good thing you brought up Roosevelt Avenue. Right before this, for 2 years, I was executive officer 115 Precinct, so on Roosevelt Avenue. Last year and a year before, the issue was mopeds. I taken 1,600 mopeds off the street last year in confines at 115. And I'm doing the same thing here if they're riding on a sidewalk. In regards to prostitution and other issues that we have, we can talk offline in regards. That particular location, what is the problem in that location that you need cars?
Those are the main hub. The walking in the morning, the people are not safe. When they're walking, they are like touching each other. Gathering day by day, it was increasing the number. So it is really headache for the community. And also, if I call to the precinct, the number is not go through. And if you need any application particular for this problem, I can send an application to your office so that you can take action immediately.
Yeah, no, I don't like paperwork. I want to talk to you direct. See me right after this when we address it, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Roz, Pramit, Maury, Leticia, and Camille to close us out.
I'm going to be very quick. I just want to follow on to what Riley was saying with a particular location that happens to be near me at the intersection of Barnett Avenue and Woodside Ave. There's an auto dealership, and I mean, I was over there yesterday. I mean, they're extending their place of business into the street, not just on the sidewalk, leaving cars parked there. On 37th Ave, there's a Jaguar by, I think it's, I don't know what the street is. It's been, Yeah, been there for years. And, I just wanted to alert you to those specific locations.
Barnett and Woodside.
And Woodside Ave, yeah.
Can you write that?
And the other location is 37th.
And then 37th Ave, do you know what street, Riley, that, I think it's Hudson.
A 5-6?
About 55th, maybe, yeah. It's right on the, on the north. Yeah, it's on the northeast corner, right at the corner, that little, but they're all over that area. It's a lot of double parking.
37th Avenue between 5-6, 5-9 has been an issue. I've done a lot of enforcement there, and there's some more enforcement that I'm scheduled for this week and next week from 5-5 to 5-9 on 37 because those cars on the sidewalk and street was unacceptable. This particular location, right after this, I'm going to take a ride myself, see what's going on, we'll take care of it, man.
Can I just say, so far, I like what I hear from you. I hope it's real, and
It's
I'm
all
sure.
real.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I would never make false promises. I'd rather you give me one complaint, I address it, than hear 100 complaints and then nothing happens. Hopefully about a year from now, you can rate me, see if I'm good or bad. Yes, man. So it's only 2 months.
Pramit and Maury.
Hey, thanks for being here. Quick question. Is there an update on the stabbing that happened in LAC at the deli 2 weeks ago?
Be a little specific.
It was at the Bonjour Food Market on like
Oh,
23rd.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the individual was arrested for attempting homicide. I talk a lot about case still active, investigation ongoing. So the perpetrators under arrest. They were going some sort of training together. They know each other. So the perpetrators under arrest. And we had one homicide this year, unfortunate event, I'm sure everybody knows about it, 3-8 in Queens Boulevard, February 14th, a 14-year-old got stabbed and unfortunately passed away. And we have 3 teenagers arrested in regards to that as well, sir. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you.
First, I just want to say, we've been talking a lot about the parking cars and things like that. It's pretty amazing that we're not talking about all kinds of violent crime, and we've just heard of 2 cases. It's horrible that we have to have, dodge parked cars on the sidewalk, but it's pretty great that we're not talking about all kinds of violent crime. So thank you for what you're doing there in the 108. The one thing I wanted to ask, because I see it all the time, and as the weather's getting warmer and the kids are going to be out of school, the subway surfing. And I actually was on, and especially bad here because we have the 7, which is above. So, I've been on multiple trips over the past couple of years where either the train had to stop. One time the kid was killed. Horrific knowing that, having been on that ride. A couple weeks ago it happened again. We're always told, call 911, call 911 when it happens. I did. I think it takes a while for the response, and by then the train's way off and who knows what. I think one of the challenges with all of this is that, it's partly a public health crisis, and not just an issue of enforcement, but in terms of how to enforce it. What is the 108? What are you collectively doing as the police force to try to protect our kids?
Sure. So when you call 911, it's dual response, transit District 20, as well as 108 precinct. It's under jurisdiction of transit District 20, but we respond as well because, by the time they get there, we get there faster. The way I see how to address this issue, which is a serious issue, our kids, I was at the hospital about maybe 10 days ago, that one of our youth, unfortunately, was seriously injured. Education first to the families. The enforcement is there. I can give you the stats from Trenton District 20 year to date, how much enforcement we have done, how many people got arrested, and how many complaints we have, how many injuries we have. I guess it's an approach of the whole community, talking to our youth, they're our future, and unfortunately, the situation needs to stop. So we do our enforcement, keep calling 911, so at least we know where the problems actually are, and then there are numerous times that 911's call, we actually were at the scene, and we stopped the train, and we make sure that those teenagers, they were safe, sir. So, yeah, we're constantly working on this with Transit District 20.
Intervene, and when you, whether you arrest them or whatever, do you know what happens next? Do they have to go through a program, or are they just arrested and thrown out back on the street?
So it depends their age, reckless endangerment is the charge. Whether, the Queens DA's office, what happens, the follow-up is on their side, and our side, I make sure, our community affair officers, we reach out to the family, we reach out to this particular individual, whether they were arrested or not, just to, educate them, like this is not the right way to live your life, so, on our side. But prosecution side of it, Queens DA probably give you some more update, or I can give you the updates, look in the system, see where we at.
Yeah, I'd rather see a referral to community affairs than arresting, because I don't know that that's going to help. But thank you for your response.
I appreciate it, sir.
Okay, Camille, Leticia, and Sheila to close us out. We can get to attendance by 8:30. I believe in us.
I'm following up on cars on the sidewalk, plug for Orchard Street. There are a ton of cars parking on there. It's very unfortunate. Jackson Avenue has a food truck in front of it constantly, multiple food trucks, and then There's another layer of delivery trucks in the street blocking traffic, so it's tough for pedestrians. There's no way to unload, unfortunately, and now people are taking to parking on Orchard. But with that said, what should we do when we see this, and what kind of response should we then expect? Am I expecting, a turnaround time in an hour, something to happen? Or do I have to call 10 times? Should I call 911 or should I call, the precinct? Can you just better clarify what to do?
So start with 311, right?
311.
311 if it's non-emergency. I go through my chronic locations every week, how many calls I have to this location, what's the problem is that I have a special ops lieutenant and my NCO sergeant take a ride there, what seems to be the problem. We're gonna write down this location, Frankie, and I'll see what's going on at that particular. 311, that's how I get my data. 911 if it's a police emergency. Calling the precinct, of course you can call the precinct, but 311 is the way to go. The response time could be half hour, could be longer than that. If I have priority jobs of robberies or stabbing or even an aided or cardiac arrest, we go there first, then 311. I do have, especially during day tour in 412, which is from 7 o'clock to midnight, I put a 311 auto out there. That's their job, just 311, they answer 311 jobs. We get a lot of 311 jobs. I don't have the numbers. I would say for this month, I probably got 6,500 or maybe more. These calls, each individual call has to be answered, the cops response and mark it, turn on the body cam and make sure that they find out. So each job gets answered. The time, I can't give you a timeline, but start with 311. If there is a chronic location, please reach out to community affairs, come to the precinct, so I know about it, and then we'll take care of, as it happens. 311, if you block driveway, that sort of things. But if it's a chronic issue, I would like to know about it. And the same thing about mechanic shops. If you have a location, please let me know. We're going to leave our numbers here, so I send my team there to address it.
Thank you.
Hi, kind of going back to the subway surfing. So I'm a parent, I'm an educator. I grew up in this neighborhood. I went to school around here. So the first thing, my first question is regarding truancy. So when I was in middle school, right, there was truancy in the area. I think of 46, between the 46 train station all the way to 33rd as like school mile in a way, because you have several colleges, you have LaGuardia there, you have a lot of high schools in the area, you have middle schools in the area, you have a lot of elementary schools, so just within these 3 train stations. And so there's lots of young people activity, right? A lot of people using like McDonald's, and they're using the Wendy's to hang out, and now the new Shake Shack that's going to open up, and the Chipotle, right? So I'm wondering what kind of, not to kind of, shoo them out, because we don't want to, young people deserve spaces. But what is happening in terms of monitoring the young people activity, especially because of the recent stabbing that happened at the McDonald's? And not that I've heard it happening here, but there's other neighborhoods in the city that are limiting the young people going into certain businesses if they're not accompanied by adults. So what is your team doing in terms of, I guess, keeping an eye on the young people to make sure that things are safe around here, which kind of ties into the subway surfing. Same thing, you do have 2 middle schools within, again, the three train stations. You have all of these high schools, and you have the elementary schools as well. So I was wondering, beyond the, what the repercussions, but I know that the precinct is also going into the schools to talk to the students. So what has the reception been like, and the follow-up to that? So, you go in, you do your little presentation. So what happens after that? And then the last question is, so as you know, that there's a new middle school on Barnett Avenue and 48th Street. And every time there's a lot of cars that speed on 48th Street particularly, and there is one crossing guard there. But like today, it was crazy. Like the cars that were just like running the lights and all of that. So I was wondering if there's like any speeding light, like those alert thingies that can be installed there. And then also on 39th Avenue, it's a one-way, and there's a lot of people use that street to cross to the block of the school. But cars, because there's not a clear stop all the way sign, all the cars just zoom through and don't allow pedestrians to cross when, they should be given the right of way. So, yeah, so those are just a couple of things that I was wondering.
Let's start with the speeding. You said, what street was that this morning? 48?
So the speeding's on 48, between 30, I see it a lot happening between 39 and Barnett Avenue, but also the curve on 39th Avenue and 47th, right there as well.
All right, so I'm going to send my YCO sergeant, the youth sergeant, just take a look, see if we need to put contact DOT. Maybe the problem is the sign, maybe enforcement. I'll see what's going on, maybe with the ramp. I'll get back to you. Coming back to in regards to going to schools and talking to our youth. So every Monday I have a meeting with all school principals online. Every Monday at 12 o'clock. I just give, my stats of what we got, how many school incidents we have, and then I just listen to their complaint and what they need from us to do in order to have our kids safe. And I follow up every week, and sometimes twice, 3 times a week. My YCO sergeant and 3 officers are at our problematic location, and we do not limit kids a particular business. That's a private business decision that who they want to allow or not. That's not on us. Our job is to be at the location if there's a problem and make sure our kids are safe. And subway surfing, same answer. At school, every time I'm giving a presentation, whether it's youth or even adult, I bring it up because parents can talk to their kids. So.
Right, so my question was, what's the reception of the young people, and what does the follow-up look like after the presentation?
A lot of, the ones that I spoke, they were very receptive. They would like to hear, what's the consequences. That's the first thing I ask, am I going to get arrested? So I gave them everything that we have, but overall, they listen. So I haven't got any pushback from our youth.
And then in terms of the young people, in the neighborhood who, after school and whatnot, is there like patrolling that's happening from you guys just to avoid another incident like the one that happened?
So I have every single day of school day, I have at least 3 cars, 1 sergeant and 5 officers. Where the stretch where we have all our high schools. I have 11 high schools here in our compounds of 108. Had none on 115, so a little different here. So I have 3 cars after dismissal school, so and they're working from 9 o'clock to 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. They are on Queens Boulevard. I'm sure if you drive there, you see them by McDonald's. There's a car with lights on. I have fixers and myself, my executive officers, community affairs, and NCL, all hands on deck, because we do not want another incident what happened February 14th. Yeah.
And that's between 46th and 33rd, correct?
That and wherever we see a problem, any park, we see our youth gather, not to disturb them. I want them to go to park, have fun. But if I hear, I had a robbery, I have to address that. So, but yeah, I have 3 cars on any given day, school days.
Sheila, to close us out.
Thank you. Hello, nice to see you again. And actually following up on that question, and it ties into what I heard you say when we first met, a lot of your civic engagement, your community engagement, how that's critically important. So I wanted to hear a little bit more about that, because that to me ties more to preventive stuff, especially with our young people, because one thing I think our district has not enough of is active, accessible, affordable, active recreation for our youth. We're going into the warmer weather now, so they're going to be out later. So can you speak to any of, like, what from the data you're getting and from what you're seeing, things that we could be advocating for, which include like the accessible, affordable, active recreation, public open green space, because those things I think do make a difference. Those young people got energy and all kinds of things going on. And they need these things. So that's one. I'm going to dump them all because he's going to cut me off otherwise. And along the same line, you know, we talk about the issues with the cars on the sidewalk, which is, I live right around the corner from the precinct. But one thing we never talk about is what are the space needs of the precinct? Because from what I understand a little of, one is you have official vehicles, and two, you have to keep the vehicles that are involved in a crash as evidence for a certain period of time.
Storage, yeah.
So there are certain space needs that are not being met. So while we're asking for it to change, we also need to be part of a solution. So can you please answer those two questions?
So just a second question in regards to the parking around the precinct. As I mentioned to the gentleman right there, and I'm going to talk to him right after this. I see the issue, the sidewalk, and the evidence vehicle that we park on the street. Limited space that we have for official vehicles. You see marked or unmarked police vehicle right around the precinct. It says police only. There are times that there are civilian cars parked that does not belong to us. My officers are not allowed to park there because that's only for official. And I know, because I have my ICO, my integrity control officer, goes out there and runs the place to make sure that it's not one of our officers. So there are, we're enforcing that. In the vehicles, evidence vehicles.
I'm actually also asking for like specific, because we get into our budget discussions in the fall too, like how much space are we talking about that is actually needed, which I feel like is never discussed.
Got it. Can we, I would love to sit down with you and give you everything that we have. I did a walkthrough all around the precinct to see what the problem is, and then we can discuss, what we can, what I need, how much more space I need. So these issues that I'm addressing, parking on the sidewalk in the community, and then police cars are not parked on the sidewalk. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm open and sit down and to discuss, and then what we need and whatever support we can get. Okay. I'm sorry, what was that? Got it. So when I'm on a call every Monday with principals, that's one thing comes up. How much space you have? What are the programs they have? Obviously, I don't control any of those. I'm there just for safety. Other agencies might probably be able to talk more about what programs available or our children need. But from my, from a police department point of view, I gave the parents, the youth, the principals, the data, what we have and what we see and what we can do to prevent when it comes to either preventing individuals getting arrested. When it comes to programs, probably somebody else can give a better answer on that one. Well, good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome, Captain. Next, we'll move to our second guest speaker from Con Edison, Mr. Daniel Jiang. And yeah, time. I'm going to 10 minutes of questions afterwards.
10 minutes? 10 minutes? Should I just go to the questions first then? Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me back at Community Board 2. So last time I was here, if anybody remembers, it was a long speech about how people's bills are going to go up. Does anybody remember me saying that? And I've read in the news that Con Edison is raising rates in 2026. Did anybody see that or view that? That's actually false. We're not raising our rates in 2026. We're asking to raise our rates in 2026. Asking and taking is completely different. Now, why are we asking for an increase of rate? It's because currently, since 2019, it's the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act was signed in 2019, which is basically going zero emissions by 2050. Now, not only are we going zero emissions by 2050, there's different check marks. 2030, there's a check mark, and then in 2040, there's a check mark. Different things need to be accomplished by then. Well, in order for us to meet the 2030 mark, we need to spend $28 billion in the next 3 years. So if you do the math, we're gonna get the rate increase, even though each line is gone over by our state as well as our city regulators. They have to go through each line. Basically, we get audited every 2 years, where we need to give up our costs and tell them what we need to do in order to accomplish what we need to do. I think we might even get more, because now with tariffs, that might also affect things. So now that comes into play as well. Now, I'm not trying to say this to, give bad news to everyone, but it's the truth. It really is. Currently, all the costs are going up. Since 2019, since this bill passed, inflation is up more than 20%. The value of our dollar, our buying power, all throughout our supply chain, cost is up. Taxes are to the point where now it constitutes 30% of your bill. So if your bill is $100, $30 of that is all paying fees and taxes. In 2024, we paid $2.4 billion just in property taxes. In 2026, $3.2 billion is our estimated cost just in property taxes. That's enough to give each one of our electric customers $900 credit. That's how much money that is. So the costs are going up, everything is going up, our rates are gonna rise too. And it's only gonna continue to do this. Now, I've seen a lot of different things like, hey Daniel, we're going zero emission, so why are you spending so much on your gas infrastructure, right? I've seen this on the news too. Your rates are more expensive than National Grid's rates, which is fair to see. But what they don't tell you is that National Grid, they do 45 miles of gas main restoration in a year. We do 100 miles per year. And again, to mention, wait, this doesn't go along with the climate law. Basically, our pipes, because New York is very, very old, most of these pipes are from 1940. A lot of them even before that. So the World War II was still going on when most of these pipes were in there. So we need to switch them out. And then there's been talks, hey, Daniel, and this was from an elected official, why don't we just decommission those lines rather than repair them? It seems to be cheaper to decommission it. And in theory, that sounds great, but realistically, that means this. If you really do that, that means one day we could just send you a letter and be like, dear people of Sunnyside, it is cheaper for us to decommission gas to your neighborhood rather than repairing gas pipes. So starting May, sorry, that's not fair, right? 2050 is the goal for zero emission, but that does not mean we're gonna stop using gas till then. We are going to use gas till then, until our grid isn't even ready for everyone to go full gas right now. We're just not ready. Because everyone's heating, everyone's washer, dryer, everything that you use gas for would now be on the electric grid. Our grid is not strong enough for that. 42 billion is what New York State already budgeted for the Clean Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. We're going to spend way more than that. Again, just in the next 3 years, 28 billion. This is all the way up to 2050. Our gas main restorations are still going to happen for another 20 years. All these costs. If you think your rates are going to go down with all these costs going up, I'm sorry to say, but the math doesn't add up. Now, why am I giving all this bad news? Because I said it last time, I'll say it again. At this point, the only way to save money on your bill is by using less. Be more efficient with it. Now, I'm not telling everyone to go buy a mini split, go get a new whatever, all these energy start. No, I'm not saying that. Start with habits. For instance, TV is a silent killer. A lot of people sleep with TVs on. Some families, 4 different TVs, 4 different rooms, 4 people watching all different stuff. It's a real silent killer. People don't think about that. People don't know that any degree over 68 in the winter, so any degree over that is adding 3% extra to your energy bill. 3%. Every degree that it's over. People don't know that I put on heat, I put on cooling, I put on my air conditioning, but I feel a cold draft coming in. I feel hot air coming in. That's basically the same as you just leaving your refrigerator open. Insulation is very, very key into saving money as well as energy. A lot of people don't know that we would pay 70% of your weatherization, which is insulating your house, up to $2,000 for a one-family house. Basically, if your bill comes out $2,800, we would pay $2,000. The rest of the $800 would be out of pocket because that's a 70-30 split. For 2-family, it goes up. Small businesses, especially in the Queens area, we are averaging 50% at least on cost of making your business more energy efficient. From the fans in your refrigerators to hot water heaters, everything in between, including lights. Lights account for 10% of your bill. So another big thing is lights. People turn off your light. Now, a lot of people ask me, Daniel, if I'm gonna just leave a room for like an hour, should I turn everything off or leave it on? Because, I mean, if I turn it off and then on again, off and then on again, wouldn't that burn more electricity? If you're right next to the switch and you're just doing this, yes, then yes, that would use more electricity. But all other, things like that, turn it off. Turn it off when you leave. Leave it unplugged when you leave. Even leaving a phone charger without charging a phone uses electricity. A lot of these things people don't know. Have darker shades in the winter, darker shades in the summer, lighter shades in the winter. That way you keep heat in or keep heat out. Clean your appliances. Now, ma'am, I'm not saying, go lift your refrigerator and clean the clothes in the back, but please do or have somebody do it, because a clean appliance uses about 25 to 30% less electricity than a dirty appliance. Different things. Keep your freezer as packed as possible. Keep your refrigerator as empty as possible. That's physics. Do a dollar test around your fridge. If you put $1 and you close your refrigerator door and you could move the dollar at all, you need a new thing to close your refrigerator, because a lot of cold air is coming out. Look at factory defaults. If your refrigerator is constantly making a noise, that means something's wrong. That means something's wrong. That means your refrigerators keep working to get to a temperature that it cannot seem to get to. So please look at all of these things. I will have these, this is for different energy saving tips. This one is for different programs. For any homeowners out there, go solar. I went solar, I saved so much money. So please go solar. Everything except solar in this booklet, everything except solar, we have the contractors. You don't have to worry about scams. Everything is on our website. We vetted contractors. That way, for instance, for any energy efficiency initiative, like for instance, weatherization, what you could do is go to connet.com/weatherization. It's over here. And of course, I could send you the PDF as well. You go there, you put in your zip code, and then all the contractors that service your area come out on a list. Now from there, so we already vetted these people. From there, what they do is they do a evaluation on your house. They go, oh, we could do this, we could fix those vents. Oh, by the way, if you have vents for like central, make sure to close the vents where you're not using it. Like for instance, in your basement, close those vents, that way the air is actually going to where you use it. If you have big pieces of furniture in front of your vents, that's no good as well, because the back of your couch will be very, very cool or warm, but then it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And if it's not doing what it's supposed to do, it's gonna work harder. I apologize about that. So I just went veerly off topic. The contractor would go to your house, tell you everything they could do, and give you an invoice. They'll be like, hey, from here, Con Ed would pay this, and out of pocket would be this. Are you interested? You do not have to commit to anything. You could be like, no, thank you, but thank you. And they'll just go on their way. It's absolutely free for that evaluation. So if you live in an apartment and that's not, something you could do, there's other ways to insulate your house. There's double-sided plastic insulators where it's like double-sided tape on plastic, where you put that by your window. It does wonders. It really does. If you live in an apartment and you have a cold draft, try that one time. You would save a lot just on that alone. And you would see the plastic balloon up. So that's how you know it's working. I know there's going to be a lot of questions, so I'll open it up to the floor.
Let's get 10 minutes on the timer. And yeah, oh boy. All right. Are you a new member? Oh, sorry. Questions for community board members. But you can follow up with him offline once he's off the stage. Christine.
Do I need a mic?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. It would be, well, I have two questions. One, it would be really helpful to understand, give our office, our district manager's office, all this information about the weatherization program and how it is or isn't related to the NYSERDA programs. And because I think people are confused about that. So you're saying through your programs, through Con Ed, we can get essentially an energy audit as a homeowner without regard to income? I mean, it's not income tested? An energy audit and then recommendations for how to weatherize the house. Is that correct?
Yes. So NYSERDA is another great resource. A lot of people use our rebates as well as our programs along with NYSERDA to get even more. But our audits do not have an income base. So yeah, there's no income base. We would go and do that energy audit for you. Even small businesses. So that's how you know it's not income based.
Okay, thank you. So if you could give a summary and we could send it, and Deb, we could just send it to all board members rather than us trying to write down all the addresses
Absolutely.
tonight.
I
That would be
have
great.
both of these. I will leave it in the back as well. But
Okay.
I have both of these on a PDF file.
Perfect.
I should send that to the board, not a problem.
Okay. The other question that I wanted to ask, and I don't know if you're the right person to ask it, but Con Edison owns a large piece of property on the waterfront that is kind of critical.
On
The Long
Vernon?
Island City waterfront.
Vernon, that's our learning center.
Yes. It happens to be a very critical property for the one LIC rezoning, where the idea is to create a continuous waterfront, walkway and set of parks and open spaces along that waterfront. And your property is a very critical one, and I would hope that some arrangement can be arrived at with Con Ed in the public interest to use some of that property, especially your parking lot, as usable open space. And I would love to hear from you comments about any negotiations or discussions that you can fill us in on.
That is above me, but I will.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would not be able to, give up, give up zoning rights on waterfront property on Long Island City. Oof.
Well, parking lot.
No, I get it. Just from my knowledge, though, I do know. Oof, how would that even work? Like, so if somebody.
You know what? If you could just convey to whoever, to the upper management, that the community is very concerned and feels that essentially as an institution that serves the public, we would love to see Con Ed engaged in this process of transforming the community.
How would I get back to you on this? Through the community?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know the director there. I'm pretty sure even that this is. So it's gonna take me a little bit of time because I need to see who to climb up, to ask. But I mean, it's a great idea. I don't know if it would work or not. No promises, but I definitely will bring it to the people who would be able to determine yes or no.
Thank you.
I think that's the best I could do on that.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for those wonderful tips about how to save energy. That I think is going to be useful to a lot of folks. One of the things I wanted to bring up, and maybe you can clarify some of this. Some of us on the board already know how public utilities work and how, whether it's the old days of Ma Bell or whether it's electric company like Con Ed, it's a regulated monopoly. In exchange for having a monopoly, which is what we typically don't do in a capitalistic society, is have monopolies, is we decide we will let you be a monopoly in exchange for us regulating your profit. And the way it currently works is it goes through the Public Service Commission, the PSC. And so your company comes to the PSC and says, this is what we're proposing for an increase, and this is what kind of profit we want to give back to our shareholders. And part of what's going on it is kind of the debate with the elected officials and the community throughout New York is how the system currently works, where Con Ed comes and says, hey, we want this rate. Well, some folks like John Liu want it to flip around the other way, where the state says, this is what we propose is your increase, and then you can dispute it. One of the points is that apparently in its latest proposal, Con Ed asked for an 11% hike, and part of that hike is a 10.1% return on equity. So in other words, a 10.1% profit. So we talked a lot about costs, and costs are going up. But what we didn't talk about is all those costs, and that you're encouraging us to be energy efficient so that our costs don't go up, is actually because Con Ed is asking for bigger profit than they have traditionally. In fact, it used to be, it was about 9%, and now they're asking for 10.1% in profit, not 10.1% increase. That's profit. That's money they're making over what the costs that you so eloquently outlined are. So I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page with that, and that, no pun intended, that we're not gaslit.
Okay. So, to fully explain a regulated monopoly, I don't have the words for that. A lot of the things that you mentioned, though, are correct. One, our profits are capped by the Public Service Commission. Anything extra must go back into infrastructure. And they deliberately did it that way. That way, we're constantly throwing money into our infrastructure. So, on top of that, it goes, oh wow, there's so much different webs on this. So it's even to the point where every single one of our energy efficiency programs is also worked into this. Because as on any other business, right? If your consumer uses more, that's good for you, right? You know, that's good for you because that means more money, right? However, with different state guidelines as well as climate laws, that was also factored into it, where Con Ed, in lieu of you pushing everyone to be more energy efficient for using less, we will raise that cap for you. And I think that's what the 10% is, what that overall cap of profit that we could make before we throw it into infrastructure. So
Con Ed is going above and beyond.
I need to get back to you on that one then, though. The 1.5. Another interesting, while we're on that 11% increase, 27% of that 11% increase that we're asking for, taxes. It's for taxes. So that I just wanted to mention that as well. Next.
Carlos and one other to close us out. All right, Michael, and that's it.
So I just want to add on to Maury's point, and this is not a reflection of you, but we don't deserve to pay for this. Con Ed has been burning oil for years and years and years, which is affecting climate change, which we have to pay for. It's causing flooding, and it's causing extreme heat, which we have to pay for, and all these infrastructure changes in the future and worse climate crisis problems, we're going to have to pay for. I think Con Ed can afford it. I think the state forcing you to be more climate friendly means that we shouldn't have to pay for that. You've been making this mistake for years. You should pay for it. And I know that's not a reflection on you. My real question is, all the information in your packet is very helpful, and thank you for bringing that here. It's a lot of information, and it's kind of hard to digest sometimes. I know sometimes you guys send out emails with tips. It would be really helpful to kind of highlight some of the best practices that people can implement and maybe like quantify them based on how much money you can save. For me, it's like I'm not gonna sit down one weekend and like do every single thing that's gonna save me all the money possible, right? But I do wanna reduce the amount of energy I'm using. So maybe like some top line things are gonna save you the most money to kind of get people started, I think would be really helpful.
Absolutely. There was a lot there, so let me go one by one. Well, first things first, although we are a utility company, part of being a regulated monopoly is we can't handle the supply portion. We only make money through the delivery portion. The supply portion, the actual raw gas and electric that is created or used, we literally buy that on the market and give it to you at the same price that we pay for it. So the old way of doing things, well, currently, before the Climate Protection Act, currently 70% of the electricity that we procure is by burning gas. By 2030, that needs to go opposite, where 70% is now renewable. So yes, we were buying it from people burning gas, but it's because it was cheaper. It is cheaper. So that's why we were buying that type of gas. Another part of being a regulated monopoly is, unfortunately, infrastructure is paid by the ratepayer. That's set in stone. That's a law. Like it's set in stone. So unfortunately on that. Now for the different tips, we do send a summer energy efficiency, a high bill, prevention email in May. We also send one in October, November-ish for the winter. So winter high bill. So please look out for those emails. If you don't have your email on file with us, please do. It's an excellent, excellent way. If you don't have a connet.com account, my account, please do, because that's another great way to save money. A lot of times you need to see what you're using in order for you to save. I always compare it to a diet. Like if I go, by June 1st, I'll just see how much I lost, how much weight I lost. It doesn't really work like that. You need to count your calories. You need to see your meals day by day. With a connet.com account, you could, because everybody here should have a smart meter. That means you could see your usage every 15 minutes. So when you're out, I'll tell you a funny story. I had a customer who was like, Daniel, this is impossible. There's no way I could use this much. I'm never home. I leave my house at 7 in the morning. I come back home from work around 8. My kids are at school all day. There's no way I'm using all of this. So we went to her My Account and we looked at it, and strangely enough, at 9 a.m. every day, her usage started spiking. And she was like, something's wrong. I told you nobody's home. Next day, she calls me. What has been happening is her 2 high school kids, they would cut school with all of their friends. They would get dropped off at school, get all of their friends, get back to the house around 9 a.m., and then pretty much put everything on. So there was somebody home. But the reason why I'm telling everybody that is you could literally see your usage. You could see if that vent above your stove, you could see what it uses. I didn't know this, but in my old home, that vent above my stove, it would make my usage skyrocket. I didn't even think to consider that, but that's what I'm saying, like different things, but definitely we will highlight the best points.
Thanks, Daniel. A couple of questions. First, you gave us a bunch of tips for residential energy use. I guess in the context of the community board in particular, I was curious if there's any sort of low-hanging fruit about how local government uses energy. So obviously there's all these things, lights of various sorts, heating and so on. They also apply to the many public buildings and infrastructure that the city operates. Are there, is there any low-hanging fruit there to reduce energy costs at the, government level?
At a government building level, that would be handled by NYPA, New York Power Authority, right? In New York. I know that we wouldn't send our people there, but if NYPA requests outside assistance from us, of course we would go. But they have their own people to do those audits in those buildings. Am I answering the question?
Sort of. I mean, I'm wondering at a more tactical level, are there things they could be doing, and maybe your answer is NYPA would know, not you, but to more efficiently manage energy costs?
Number one thing would be, it depends on how old their HVAC as well as heating units are. As of right now, everybody, gas heating is still cheaper than electric heating right now, just like where the technology is currently. A great start would be, of course, lights, light control, switch out everything to LED smart, energy efficient lights. There's like beautiful square LEDs, not like those, but like there's square LEDs that we do for small businesses. This could go for big buildings as well. We did it for hospitals. So like lights is a great way to start. Windows is another thing because of, again, insulation. There's no point in having a big central air conditioning unit pumping all of this cold air to all these rooms and it's just leaking out. So those two things I would say would be a good start.
Thanks. And then one other thing. So you mentioned basically the grid doesn't produce enough renewable energy to reach, the climate goals. It would cost a lot of money to upgrade the grid and to generate that kind of electricity. I'm curious if there's any policy or regulation that is hampering, new alternative energy sources being built that you're aware of. This is kind of a hot topic. There's a book that came out recently called Abundance that talks about how to make it easier to build energy. Curious if there's anything going on in New York we should be aware of that we can kind of lift up.
So that's a good question. All right. So one of the problems that we are facing right now, one is that we need to make our grid now adaptable to get renewable energy, like, getting it from a power plant that burns gas versus a solar field or a windmill or hydro generation. Like, those are all different ways. One of the issues that we are facing, and it's more than us, it's New York State that's facing it, they can't seem to get enough investors. There's a lot of projects going on, but there should be way more for our goal of going full 70 renewable rather than 70% gas. There's not enough investors that are throwing money into building like the windmills or the hydro plants and things of that nature. So one of the things that we are doing is we're promoting solar on a more smaller basis because that would still add electricity to our grid. We are investing more in different things like geothermal energy. We're doing a huge project in Westchester for geothermal where it's a renewable energy source where we just take the heat and the coolness from the earth and use that and transfer that via mini splits. So like we have a lot of things going on in regards to that. Some people are even saying, hey, we should bring back the nuclear plant. So there's a lot of different things going on, but I wouldn't say there's any regulations that are holding us back. We are the deliverers. It's our grid that needs to handle this electricity from A to B. Right now, I think more of the problem is on the A, like the power plant side of things, like the supply, and we don't handle supply.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Daniel. Have you thought about starting a podcast? Because I would subscribe. All right, really quick. We do have a couple people on the public sign-up sheet. Barry, please. And then, we don't always do this, but sometimes we have board members make public comment too. So, but I'm going to ask you to keep it pretty short.
Thank you. My name is Barry Druss, and I'm a transit advocate. Last month, I presented the concept of a Sunnyside Station, a regional train station, and I'd like to add to that. I think we could build an air train operation from Sunnyside to LaGuardia and then on to Kennedy. It's part of a route that already has been worked out, but it would be transformative. The station would be transformative, and it would go a long way to get cars off the road and to get people to leave their cars at home, because people would access the train at many stations regionally, and they would avoid coming into the city. This would free up our transportation system. It's important. And if you combine this with bus rapid transit, you got a winner. And we need winners because there's too many cars and too much density. We're building more and more, and we can't sustain it. It's not going to happen. Thank you very much. If you support me, I'd like to get a response. My email is bdgamebuilder@yahoo.com. Thank you.
Patrick? Mohammed, Jewel, hey, did you want to say a couple words also later? Yeah, okay, cool. You're next. All right.
Yes, sorry, I usually don't do this. I will try and keep it short. I figured this would be the best way to enter this because I have no other segue. But I just wanted to give a PSA. It's that time of the year. Thank you, Maury, for the inspiration. You can all do a tree survey of your own and submit a 311 request or let the board know. We don't really have a lot of green space. We have a lot of empty tree plots. I counted 300 tree plots in our district last year, just in Wynwood Gardens. And so now's the time to do it. You can find dead trees. Things are starting to bloom. And yeah, so if there are any more questions, you can find me. Thank you. You can find me. Oh, definitely contact the community
Yeah,
board
because
office.
they were very helpful. They helped me get a tree years ago. I mean, hit all the resources.
Yeah.
Good evening, my fellow Queens Community Board members, leaders, officials. I'm pleased to inform you that I'm become a Queens Borough President Office General Assembly member, is a delegate. So I'm one of them 25. It's my honor to be first, my identity is I'm a Queens Community Board member, then the delegate. So it's my really honor because I'm work with you and the near future. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, attendance.
Should we wait an extra 3 minutes and just make it 9 o'clock or what? All right, well, congratulations, Mohammed, on that exciting appointment, and welcome to all the new board members who are with us for the first time tonight. I'm about to name all of your names. As I take attendance, you can say here or present when I read your name, and you can also, if you want, shout out a correction to the pronunciation that I use for your name if it's not correct, or you can just tell me afterward, whatever your choice is. So with that, we'll start with Amparo Abelbay. All right, Nelly Afshar, excused. Anatol Ashraf. John Bahia. Anne-Marie Baranowski. Carisha Batan. Nick Berkowitz.
Here online.
Thanks. Danielle Brecker. Carlos Castelcroc. Evelyn Chango. Lisa Charles. Tanya Chavez.
Here online.
All right, thank you. Osman Chowdhury. Steve Cooper. Warren Davis. Lisa Deller. Maury Gallinoy. Dr. Raz Tanutsas. Alexandra Gonzalez. Excused. Camille Gray. Kenny Greenberg. Corey Hannigan. Mohammed Hossein. Christine Hunter. Diana Kitchler. Excused. James Kim. James Kim online once, twice. Nope. Okay. Prameet Kumar. Chimang Lama. Bradford Laban. Sheila Lewandowski. Excellent. Benjamin Lucas. Absent. Patrick Martinez. Eric Narberg. Andy Olivares. Absent. Riley Owens. Jolly Patel. Absent. Randy Plummo. Pia Raman.
Here online.
All right, thank you. Maya Saab. Norberto Saldana. Alyssa Sawicki. All right. Fugelzen Sherpa. Ryan Smith, that's me, I'm here. Caroline Spitzer. Lauren Springer. Akello Thomas.
Good evening. I'm here online.
All right, thank you. Amaris Valdez. Elena Van Sluten. All right. Letitia Vasquez. All right. And Michael Zorob. All right. Thanks very much. We have a quorum.
Okay, and next is approval of the minutes. So I will motion to approve. Yes. Sure. Yep.
So when I read them, I noticed after the city planning report, there were a number of points that I made. I remember the last meeting, one of them had to do with how they talked about the population growth. And so none of those notes are in there. Is that like that they were, is that normal?
I mean,
We don't do verbatim minutes.
I know we
Yeah,
don't do,
it's,
but it sometimes says a board member said, but there's nothing. It just says Q and A, and
I
so,
would second the motion to be put in there because it was rather important. We asked city planning to please explain their numbers. They said, I think, double in 10 years, and it's been like quadruple that.
but,
They answered that at land use. Yeah.
okay, but it's not in the minutes, the fact that we brought it up either.
We can try and get, we have, the land use minutes are still pending,
Right.
so we could try and get those numbers in.
It's more to me that these things were questions that were specifically asked, and they didn't have the answers, and that's not in the minutes. So it makes it sound like the things they presented were all correct. And it says, so that's why I'm.
Yeah. Yep. Called a question. All in favor of approving the minutes with the amendment to include Sheila's comments. Okay. New members, you don't vote, abstain, because you weren't here for that. All right, any abstentions? Anybody who wasn't here?
What?
One abstention? Oh, no abstention.
All new members are saying.
Yeah, you abstain. Actually don't. It's a mystery. Okay. Yeah. And any opposition? No. Okay. So unanimous. All right. Yep. Minutes will be amended. All right. I'm going to keep the chairperson report as brief as possible. Eid Mubarak. And happy Easter in advance. We're going to keep the Eid parties going for sure in various places. All right, congrats to all board members, new and reappointed. Renewed members, thank you for sticking around to do this work. I got my last reappointment letter myself, and I have mixed feelings about it. And folks who didn't make it, including those I've pestered to apply, please apply again, especially public committee members. Kevin, I know you're online. I have it on good authority from the Borough President's office that public members go to the front of the line for consideration, especially, you keep showing up, every day. So, yeah. Sorry? Yeah, exactly. You heard it straight from the source. So yeah, please do apply again. And so February 2026, that's the next time. New members, welcome. Really looking forward to working with you. Just a couple of top line items. We have hybrid meetings. As you can see, I think we're the only board in Queens to have a hybrid meeting policy. So yeah. Try your best to show up in person. But if there's also the open meetings law, which we will, definitely go into. But try your best to show up in person. But if you can't, just let me and the board office know. Let us know that you're going to be online, or and also let us know if you need to be excused for an absence. And medical reasons also count for virtual and quorum. And we'll explain all that. We'll explain all that at an onboarding document, which we will put together and send out via email, and also add to the community board website. And we'll have an intro call on Zoom. We'll schedule that this month. Importantly, also, there's a code of conduct that we all abide by. Main thing to remember is you're part of a government agency. Community board is a government agency, so there's certain conduct that we must adhere to. And really, the main thing is, no matter how much you hate a certain issue, be civil and respectful to the messenger, as we were to Con Ed. So, yeah, so that is everything. We'll also send out a committee assignment survey. That's going to ask a few more questions. It's kind of like the application form you filled out for the board president, but asking different questions. So it's not like re-applying again, it's just to help me assign you to the best suited committee. Okay, two things real quick. It's the, so last month, we announced that there's an opening for the treasurer role on the executive committee. My fault, we didn't give enough time for anyone who was interested in running. We did have a very eager candidate, so we kind of ran with that. But at this moment, we will hear again from the candidate who has expressed interest and anyone else who would like to put their hat in the ring, or put their ring in the hat, self-nominate, and you will have 2 minutes, but otherwise we will close off accepting candidates for the treasurer role today. So, Michael, you're up.
Cool. I will try to be briefer than last time, since I actually didn't appreciate I would have to do this a second time, but I'm very glad to get to reintroduce myself, especially to the new members. I'm Michael Zurab. I've been on the board for about a year now, and I'm on the land use committee, and I'm excited to run for treasurer. Just to be, quite brief, I think there are kind of two areas where I see myself playing, if I were to be the treasurer, ways I could make the role more efficient and effective. The first is around the survey that the board does to solicit feedback and to sort of input and priorities for our budget. That's been our main way of getting feedback, and historically we've gotten, like I said last time, double-digit responses, despite the fact that we have more than 120,000 people in our community district. And I think if we kind of are very deliberate and work with community groups to really circulate this kind of stuff, we can probably 10x that number, and we should try to. And so that's something I really want to do, just so we can kind of more confidently say we're reflecting the priorities of our community. The second thing that I really want to focus on is basically just record keeping. When term limits kick in, we're going to lose a lot of historical context and knowledge about the history of the board. People who've been on the board for many, many years who know a lot about our historical budget requests, and I don't want us to lose that context and knowledge. So I think a priority for me would be to really just write down what we've done, the requests we've made, that were particularly successful, and the requests we made that ultimately that got funded that ultimately didn't result in anything meaningful, so that this is sort of a body of knowledge that people can use going forward. Those are the things I really want to work on. Look forward to meeting many more of you and working together in the future, and would be honored to serve as treasurer. Thank you.
All right, I'm sorry. Yeah, are there any other nominations for the treasurer role? Going once, going twice. All right, okay, so I think we will, now we can officially close off accepting nominations for the treasurer role. We will vote next month and make it official. All right. No. Yeah. Okay, so we are outside of the window to be able to appoint Michael as acting treasurer. Yeah. All right, and last but not least, I would like us all to sing or wish a very happy birthday to our first vice chair for a milestone. We're not going to say which milestone, but a milestone birthday. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Roz. Happy birthday to you.
I just want to thanks, boss, and you still haven't gotten to halfway.
That's it for me.
Happy birthday, Roz, and congratulations. I believe you were honored as one of the Women of the Year, so congratulations. And if I left anybody else out, I apologize, but Lisa is being honored tomorrow by Sunnyside Community Services with the Lily Gavin Award. I just heard about it, so congratulations. Well deserved. I believe I got that award last year for the first time, so it's an honor to be in that category. I want to thank all of our outgoing members for serving on Community Board 2. Samnath Gamir, Leland Hindell, Badrun Khan, Zishan Ott, and Mary Torres, who served our community well. So we thank them for their service. I don't want to be remiss, but I want to thank my staff, Marianne, and we do have a new staffer, Raphael. He's almost nearing his 3 months mark, and he's done a good job in learning the office, learning the phones, and learning protocols, and a lot of stuff that you see coming through. He's really doing a nice job. So we thank him, and we thank him for joining the team, and we look forward to a successful run with everybody. Quick update, and we'll see if I can get him here maybe in June for a quick hello. It costs the board money, but we'll work it out. I hear, I listen, so, you know, you may not always think so, but I do. Parks update, construction to start. I know Court Square has been delayed, and I've been told that it's scheduled to begin on Monday, April 7th. So let's keep our fingers crossed that there's no other glitch. Sanitation update. As you know, the composting began April 1st for all buildings. Curbside composting is collected weekly in every borough the same day as your recycling. So put out your composting on the day of recycling because that's when they're picking it up. We were asked, but we don't have stickers the way sanitation has for recycling and for garbage. So I will ask sanitation. We have not received them. So I will ask them, and if we can get them, we'll sure bring them for the next meeting. We had 11 complaints since our February meeting. Again, some are duplicates. They're really more than 11, but I only report originals. PD, of course, you know that's the top complaint, and we talked about that here tonight. DOT, potholes, pedestrian walkways, and DEP this month was the top 3 complaints. So I want to wish everybody happy Easter, happy Passover, happy Earth Day, and happy to everybody. And thank you all, and I look forward to working with everybody, and welcome to all the new board members. Yes?
A quick question. Is there an update with the connection of the Q Studio Lab school and the DOB or?
Actually, it's in my cabinet minutes. I don't know if they went out today, but they'll be going out tomorrow. We did talk to DOB. They are working with the Studio Lab school. That's all we know from DOB. But they did mention it at my cabinet meeting. It is in my minutes, and they are working together to help resolve some of the issues. So we'll see how it goes. But we are working on that. And Carisha, as you know, I guess I'll leave that for your report. No, we're partners. But the billboard project, as Carisha's been really advocating for, is starting to get underway with parks. They have saved billboards, and they officially acknowledged that the Queensboro Dance Festival is going to be the partner for making sure those bulletin boards are filled. So thank you, and I look forward to continuing more successful projects. Bulletin boards, yes. I said billboards. That's on my mind, because that's always been a problem in this community, and we do ask DOB for updates periodically, but there's nothing new, so. As Lisa knows that one, billboards.
Yeah, and city planning had nothing to update us on. Hey Kyung, hey Kyung, do you have an update or?
Just here to listen. Hi, are you there?
No, sorry, that's someone else. That's a DCP. Well, thank you DCP for attending. Yeah.
The one LIC meeting is virtual on Monday.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to, okay.
Great. And that's, so yeah, committee reports, starting with land use. I guess, do you want to come up or? Oh, Pramit needs to come up. Actually, Pramit, yeah, you go ahead.
Sorry? Oh, okay. So one thing, this is related to city planning, but the latest information or estimate that we have from city planning as to when they will be certifying the ULURP for 1LIC, is by the end of April. So the plan is that at our next May meeting, they will make a presentation of, the final package. And I'm going to ask Pramit then who's going to chair a working group from within the community board to talk a little bit about that.
Yes, so the timeline, as Christine mentioned, certification by the end of April, tentatively. It still could change. And that would be in time for Haekyung and DCP to give a presentation in the May 1st meeting. And then we have a working group made up of a lot of members of this board, DCP, and what we're going to do is meet twice a week throughout the month of May on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. There's a lot we're going to have to talk about, so it's going to need a lot of meetings. We're going to host at least one public hearing, tentatively scheduled for May 21st, potentially here, where public members can make comments and let us know what they think about the 1LIC initiative. And
the public, not just public members.
Sorry, not just public members, but public community members, yeah, can let us know what they think. And then our goal is to potentially have a committee recommendation by the end of May in time for our June meeting. If we find that we need more time, which, given the complexity of all this, we might, then we'll probably have to have an ad hoc board meeting towards the end of June where we can discuss further and then have our vote, because the ULURP process gives us 60 days. So assuming that certification happens at the end of April, we'll have until the end of June to give our recommendation. So we'll see how things go. We'll see what it looks like and what our meetings find and uncover, but we have a good plan that we like, and hopefully it executes well.
There was also interest from CB1 for joining up and doing a joint hearing. Maybe we can ask them to come here or we're kind of like locked into the venue, right, on May 20th. Well, not locked in, but it is available. And we just have to finalize it. The May 21st here.
Yeah, the suggestion, again, I know you're aware of it. This really concerns Long Island City more than it concerns Woodside and Sunnyside. And I would urge us to make every attempt to find a location in Long Island City, LaGuardia College, something to do it there. I think there'll be a large enough turnout. We'll probably need more space than this anyway. So I know Debbie was trying to find a location. I urge you to, anything we can, to do it there, not here.
And with electeds' help, we can possibly have it at CUNY Law as well. And edge of
We know we have
LIC,
big space there. The other choices, we talked about the law school, but again, we should try and see if they'll make an exception, because that's in Long Island City. If there's any other places in Long Island City that someone can recommend, let the board know, that's all.
If we do something joint with Board One, which would be an interesting idea, then I don't know if they have access to that big auditorium at the Museum of the Moving Image, because that would be a great place.
But that's so much, it's squarely in CB1 though.
What?
Yeah.
Well, from CB,
And CUNY law is like right, good in between the two districts. Sheila.
Yeah, CUNY Law, but we also, when we were working on the Hunters Point South project with 100% affordable, whatever that means, we did it at the public schools there too. So like there are a number of options that are right there. Maybe we ask Con Ed if they would host it.
But the public school was a good idea.
The public school. Yeah, but it's not that much, actually.
What about the LIC location of SCS also?
That's not big enough.
It's not big enough. It's
Too small.
tiny room. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
But the schools are really good.
Yeah.
Schools are hard because of permit issues, and they don't always like to give it through the city agencies, so it's a little more difficult to do the school. When we did that school down, the film school.
Yep.
When we did that, they were co-located, and it was hard. We got the permit, but
We did participatory budgeting in some of the schools at
yeah,
times
that was the
also.
council office, so maybe they can help us.
Maybe they can help us. Yeah, council member's office, where?
No,
Far out?
I think the council person would.
Yeah.
I think Julie One would be interested in helping us out with this. Caroline.
Will the public hearings have a hybrid component?
That's why we're looking at like CUNY Law, LaGuardia. It's got to be streamed. It's got to be distributed broadly. All right. Okay, so we'll put a pin in that. Transportation?
Hi. We have not had our meeting yet since our last full board meeting, so there's not much to report. Our meeting is coming up on Tuesday, next week. I've also been working with Lauren on a joint transportation and health and human services meeting to address subway surfing, where we're going to have a presentation. So I would invite, I hope that transportation committee members can come, and anybody else who wants to see a presentation on subway surfing and try to address the problem through the board and the community. You may have seen an email about DOT leasing some space under the Long Island Expressway to Silver Cup Studios. I don't really know anything about that other than that letter, but there is a hearing coming up. I can talk about it in the committee meeting on Tuesday, but I would say if anybody knows anything or wants to know anything more, please talk to me too.
I have I have a comment and question. On the Silver Cup studio thing, I think what they're going to say is that they're leasing parking because they park on the sidewalk and they keep getting in trouble. I'm going to testify, but I'll try to make the meeting. But my question is, over a year ago, somebody came here and talked about Crescent Street being open without it being blocked off, so you don't have to walk up blocks to cross. Is that happening? And I don't even know if that's really transportation.
I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, it's kind of stalled. I haven't heard an update about. You're talking about like being able to across.
Yes, because right
Plaza.
now,
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
coming from Astoria, you get on the bridge or you turn.
Yeah.
And if you're coming, you can't even go the other way.
Right. Yeah, that whole thing just.
I live on Crescent Street, that's why I'm asking.
Oh, that's part of South Outer Road. Okay. And that's why it's stalled. Yeah. Okay. Also, new members, we moved the transportation committee meeting to Monday. Monday, you said Tuesday. Monday, April 7th. Right?
No, what's April 7th? Tuesday.
Monday.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, that's true, that's true. Lots of scheduling happening. So Monday, April 7th is the Transportation Committee meeting, which is in person or hybrid at the Community Board office. And then on the 14th is Health and Human Services and Education meeting, where I invite Transportation Committee members and anybody else who wants to see presentations on subway surfing.
And that's for new members to be able to, shop and check out all the committees this month before you. There's no deadline, but I highly encourage all of you to attend as many committee meetings this month as you can, and just get a feel for what they're up to, what you like, and so on. Corey.
So the Transportation Committee is on the 7th. Doesn't that overlap with the LICNP info session? Yes. It does. So you have to choose which one we like more. Put me in a bind, man.
I think by default you're in transportation because you're a public member. The transportation meeting was changed before the LIC meeting. All right, next is arts and culture.
Oh, hi. Okay. So Arts and Culture last month was super exciting. We had Dance NYC come and talk about recent advocacy and information on the budgeting process in terms of arts and culture funding. We also had the New Yorkers for Culture and Arts come and talk about arts and culture funding advocacy at a state level, giving us some resources and tips to get engaged. We also continued our committee discussion on what's happening with Bliss Theater. So new folks, if you are interested in arts and culture at the intersection of land use, that is super, super relevant and critical happening in our district. So come and check us out because our next meeting is actually on Tuesday. It is virtual only. We'll have some updates there, and we will also have further updates by the time we get to land use meeting, which so thank you.
Can you remind everybody when the DCLA, the Department of Cultural Affairs application deadline is? Because that's coming up for anybody who works with an arts organization, also arts education.
Sure. We'll talk about that more on Tuesday, but that deadline, I believe, is in May. Is that right, Sheila? May. If you are on a multi-year grant, you do not have to fill out that application. There is a separate renewal process that you have to do in order to get your next year funding. But yes, folks who are interested in getting city money for their arts and cultural organization, we can help share that information with you on Tuesday. Thanks, Sheila.
Thanks. Danielle, for City Services.
Thank you. Okay, a couple things. Our next meeting is on Wednesday at 6:30. It is in person if you have an application, but if it's not, if you don't have an application. I encourage new members to come out for city services and public safety because not only do you get to approve liquor license and cannabis license and outdoor seating, but you get you get to know before everybody else what cool restaurants and cannabis shops are coming to our area.
Legal cannabis shops.
Yes, you don't get anything free, but you get to know, so you're like in the know and you're really very hip. I also want to say that there is the new cannabis shop, finally one in Sunnyside has opened, just down the street. So you should all check it out if you're so interested. And then one thing that we discussed in the last city services meeting was the impact of one LIC rezoning on the 108 precinct. So I am on the task force because I also sit on the land use committee, and I will and I live in LIC, and I will be bringing that up as we review the data that we're reviewing, and Steve wants to add something.
Yeah, just one thing. We are getting new applications for both the sidewalk cafes and the street cafes. Try, if you can, to look at the agenda that went out, because you may know some of these locations that we may not. And when people are coming to apply, especially the road ones, which concern us greatly, if there's been a problem, we'd like to know about it before we give them approval. Okay? So please, at least, if you're not going to go to the meeting, at least look and see if there's locations that you know and call the board If you can't come to the meeting, let us know that there's a situation.
Hey, I had a question. I read the minutes of city services and a semantic question to clarify. For different businesses, one said that their rear yard closes at 11, the other said the rear yard shuts. And so just, there's a difference between there was a difference between the wording. One sounded like they stopped serving out there, but people can sit there. Like it's not clear in the minutes.
Basically, I'll have to look and see what they're talking about, but what we normally do is if someone is asking for the rear yard, we normally set a closing time, and we also will set a music time. So if the establishment is open till 12 o'clock, as an example, we may cut off music at 10, but we may not make them close it down at 10, okay? But I can see that there might be situations where we would do both, close it and shut the music at the same hour.
This was not just music related, and so I just wanted clarity, and I'm sure the business wants clarity over what it means to be closed versus empty. Like, because I've been there where the kitchen's closed, but you still sit there with your drinks for 2 hours, whereas the rear yard shuts. Those are, and one of them said one thing that leaned kind of one way and the other, so just wanting that clarification.
We'll take a look at it and try to nail it down. We just redid the stipulations, and I guess they'll constantly be redoing them.
Thanks. Lauren, City Services.
That's all right. Okay, at our last Health and Human Services meeting, we heard from pediatrician Dr. Lisa Foreman, who gave a presentation on measles, including, she talked about the symptoms, fever and rash, and the importance of getting the MMR vaccination. So her PowerPoint slides were sent out with the minutes, and there's a link to the recording of the presentation included in the newsletter that got sent out. And as Riley already said, our next meeting is going to be a joint thing about subway surfing, and it's at 6 p.m. on February 14th. We didn't mention the time before, and it's virtual.
April 14th.
What did I say?
February. Happy Valentine's Day.
I'm behind the times, what can I say?
Awesome. Glenn, yes, we did. Maury, do you have an update?
Okay, quick update. We didn't meet last month, but we're meeting April 22nd. I've been working with...
What committee?
Oh, Small Business Committee. Hi, I'm Maury, Small Business Committee. April 22nd, same as engagement. We're right before them, the engagement committee. Online also. Our full name is the Small Business and Local Economy Committee because we're really focused on the local economies, mom and pop shops, independent businesses. And when we talk about small business, while we're here for all small businesses, the technical definition by the federal government of a small business is less than, I think, 500 employees, which I wouldn't normally call a small business. So we think more like small mom and pops, local businesses, shops that you frequent up and down the boulevard or whatever. So we're meeting April 22nd. Debbie and the office are helping me bring in, is it the swearing in the same day? Oh, wow. What time is the swearing in? Oh, so people can join online or watch the video afterwards. You haven't yet? Okay. And I know, and also Dirk from Sunnyside Shines is supposed to be joining us, and we're going to try to, Oh, and LIC partnership hopefully will be there. Invitations haven't all gone out yet, but we're trying to organize to have a discussion with local small businesses and some city agency like SBS and maybe the nightlife office to discuss, regulations and be able to have a little maybe Q&A and back and forth with the local businesses. So we encourage you to come, and hopefully you can join us for that. And you can reach out to the office to get in touch with me if you have any questions about the committee. And I just wanted to piggyback on the Health and Human Services thing, what they mentioned about measles. I was at the doctor and I found out that a lot of people who had their MMR vaccines when they were younger don't have the titer anymore. They don't have the immunity. I found out I have measles, but I don't have rubella anymore. It's like so low. They told me I should get it redone. I talked to a friend of mine who works in a medical office and said they always test women who get pregnant, and they find out about 60% don't have enough titers and they have to get revaccinated. So even if you think you were vaccinated, you might want to ask your doctor and, Yeah, they should check your bloods and get revaccinated if you need to. That's all I have.
Thank you for the PSA. I heard about that earlier today too. Yeah, absolutely. Engagement, Tanya.
Well, more than a update, we want to send big congratulations to the new board members, and we would love to invite them to join and check out our committee. It's virtual only. It's every fourth Tuesday of the month. This month will be April 22nd at 6 p.m. And last, we want to give a shout out to the Human Services Committee for always sending us updates for the newsletter. And if you have not signed up for it, please do it. That's all. Thank you.
Question, Tanya.
Has the newsletter come out?
It has gone up.
So how come Roz doesn't get it?
Uh-oh. All right, we have to do tech support. Speaking of tech, so quick history, the engagement committee was joined with the tech committee, which I used to run, and we only had a tech committee. And I'm looking at you, Amaris, because this is very much your background, so I may be volunteering you for this, but I'll let you do the survey, just to say we were democratic about it. But Carlos. Is there a mic for Carlos? For Environment, the Parks and Rec Committee.
Hi, everybody. So my committee, Parks and the Environment, is also all virtual, so perks if you want to join. We didn't have a meeting this past month. 2 updates that are really non-updates. We haven't heard back from the Parks Department on the Murray Playground, dog run, new sites that they've been looking at. I'm sure that takes a little while, but we do have to follow up with them. And I don't believe that Debbie has heard back from DEP on them coming to one of our meetings. Is that correct, Debbie? No. Okay, so those are my 2 updates, which are not real updates, but yes, Sheila.
This had come up over the other dog run. I brought up the thing about artificial turf. Well, are you aware that in Lower Manhattan, Councilmember Marte is putting forward a bill to ban artificial turf in public areas due to the issues around overheating and that they're not as actually environmentally good or even hygienic. So I just want to bring that to your attention and to take a look at that because it is a real issue.
For sure, and we can recommend that our council member co-sponsors that bill as well.
Do you meet? And when
we meet the 4th Thursday of every month, so I think it's the 24th of April, but.
Yeah, Warren.
It was made mention just a little earlier with our state assembly representative about the green asphalt issue. It is a very, very serious issue in our neighborhood. There's plenty of times we walk across the Greenpoint Avenue Bridge and we can see black smoke going on either side of the bridge. So for lack of a better word, I say please stay on top of the assembly person, no disrespect, and green asphalt in regard to cleaning up the mess and adhering to whatever laws are they need to stick with. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let's enjoy the the 3-hour meetings we've had before the ULURP comes. Although, I'm still going to try to get us out by 10:30. Yeah, because without, 10:15, sorry, 10:15. Remember 10:15. So yeah, I feel like we've had our fun, but from I think from May we're gonna off to the races. So anyway, motion to adjourn. I'll second Sheila's motion to adjourn, and have a great night. Welcome. Yes, Lisa. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so all new members, please on Monday, the 7th, virtually join the 1LIC meeting. Oh, I thought we had we had a soft vote, exactly. All right. Good night.